welcome. Thank you for coming. Welcome to the party. We want to take this time, this precious time. Excuse me. Can you close those doors? We want to take this time to do a supplication to whoever is your creator and father. Heavenly Master, Creator, Almighty Father, King, Commander-in-Chief, thank you, praise you, Baruch you, for waking us up this morning and allowing us to commune together once again and break bread. Thank you for putting us to sleep last night and carrying us through our sleep and waking us up on this day. Thank you for this afternoon. Thank you for all these people that's here. And the speakers, the guest speakers, the people who put this together. Thank you, Creator Father, that we are still in the land of the living and we still have another chance. We beg you to forgive us, Creator Father, Almighty Master, for sinning against you. Please continue to have mercy on us and our souls. Father, we ask that you come in the midst of us and feed us and sup with us and exchange and give us wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Open that part of our mind, that 90% part that's closed. Please allow us to utilize that 90% part. Please bring it into focus. Bring it out of the dark into the light, that we may utilize that other 90%. Since we are the ones that is present here, we are the ones that are trying and chasing, getting woke. Please, Father, we beg you. Amen. I want to thank everybody for coming. We want to send out special thanks to Brother Omari L, to Brother Help Sharu, to Jihad and his lovely queen, to the soldiers out of Indiana, to Ramon Merritt, Ricky Jameson, and welcome each and every one of you. You know, I was on my way here this morning and I passed the cemetery and I said, thank you, Father. Same thing I just said. Thank you for allowing me to be in the land of the living. If there's anybody in the audience that's dead, please stand and be acknowledged so that you may be resurrected. That was a joke. We want to bring out Brother T. Jabali L. And we want to welcome you again and thank everybody for coming, and may you be fed. Jesse.
Islam.
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 Islam. Islam. Islam. All right. Looking live here. We're going to ask that everyone set aside your beliefs and give the attentive ear. Take out your pen and your pad. Take notes. There's some information going to be given here tonight, or this evening. I want to read a quick excerpt from Brother Taj Tarik Bey's book titled Moors and Masonry. And it begins. Greetings of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice are respectfully forwarded to the descendant sons and daughters of the ancient Moabites, Moors, with a sincere acknowledgement of the works and instructions placed before the absent-minded and mentally enslaved heirs of this sempiternal birthright inheritance. The following are names of some of the preachers, presidents, wizards, and keepers of the great lost estate of the Dominion of Africa, being ancient Amexem, the Moorish Empire. These preachers, wizards, keepers of the North Gate, have been and are, according to the present dispensation, contemporary assigners, not to be confused with the true heirs, sovereigns of the realm, who have been sore keepers and oppressed. Those preachers and wizards, past and present, assuming warship tenure, political positions over Maghreb, are hereby put on notice by the conscious among the heirs of their having strategically set times of official duties in accordance with the cosmologically guided rulership over the hereditaments of the fallen Moors, the great temple of the moon and the sun, Maghreb, Al-Aqsa, meaning Morocco, the most extreme west, now sits well into the light of the age of Aquarius, well attended by Saturn and Uranus, positioned in guardianship over the North Gate of the universe. It is spoken, so mote it be, concerning the great sealed government, Moorish founders of this great republic of the North Gate, and its true its true destiny. It must be known and understood by the heir apparent that there are only 9, not 13, 9 that provided ratification of the covenant of the Continental Congress, beginning with the first state's ratification, being Delaware. On the 6th day, December 1787, correlate this time with the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between Morocco and the United States Republic, North America, as commissioned under the authority of the Sultan Sadiq Muhammad of the Moroccan Empire in the year 1784 AD. This, the world's longest running treaty, was finalized and sealed in the year 1787 AD, corresponding to 1200 MC, Moorish calendar year. The minister plenipotentiary assigned to represent the plenary powers for the United States Republic were Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams. Thomas Barclay acted as an agent in business. The following names are the preachers and the wizards veiled under the commonly accepted name president. Presidents of the Continental Congress, from 1774 AD to 1789 AD. The first president being Peyton Randolph, Henry Middleton, John Hancock, Henry Lawrence, John Jay, Samuel Huntington, Thomas McLean, John Hanson, 1781, and the first president of the United States Republic in official operation under the Constitution and the Great Seal. Icon insignia of the ancient Moorish nation covered up. Elias Boutnot, Thomas Mifflin, Richard Henry Lee, Nathaniel Gorham, Arthur St. Clair, Cyrus Griffin, and George Washington, 1789, the first president, preacher, wizard, to govern under the present amended Constitution of 1789 on the 30th day of April. Without further delay, I bring you Abdullah Talib Bey. Islam! Islam!
Islam. By the way, my name is Daweed Nahmiel. We ask you please to put your cell phones on vibrate, and please hold your questions and write them down to the end, because we want to go through this whole thing so everybody, the whole message will be given to you. Islam. Assalamu alaikum. Bey and Miyam is the response. Come into the light. Bey and Miyam. I shall come. It is a pleasure to be here today in the Moorish territory, where the European foreign private corporation called Chicago, Illinois. I know we've been conditioned all our lives to refer to the European colonial corporations as territories. We've been flashed with maps in schools. So we've been told to call this Chicago. I was born in Chicago. I was born in Philadelphia. Not knowing what that means, all right? So we're going to look at the Masonry, the connecting the Europeans and the Moors, historically, Masonically, and constitutionally. The true founders of the de jure United States Republic. The Masonry buried history revealed. So let's look at this. I passed out a test. Who has taken the test? Good, good. Number one. Who has number one? Now, who wants to answer number one? The question is, describe the American flag. Describe the American flag. The American flag with the red field with a 5-pointed green star. Red field with a 5-pointed green star, which is indeed the Moroccan flag. Number two. Number two. Just throw an answer out. One of you in the back.
one of the teenagers. What's the answer to number 2? What did you write down? What's the answer? You didn't take the test? Number 2. You want to answer number 2, brother? Yes. The answer is, there is no American president. It doesn't exist. 1, America is 2 continents, North America, Central America, the Isthmus, and the other continent, South America, and the adjoining island is called the Americana. Most of you have been conditioned to call George Bush the American president, and not knowing what that means. The American president. So he's falsely claiming jurisdiction of the Americas, North, Central, South, and the islands, and has gone unchallenged. We have not objected because we don't know that that name applies to us. Number 3. Let me put this up. We have been conditioned to limit the name America to this body of land, not knowing that it applies to all of it. So the Europeans came up with a deceptive, distorted, connotated meaning for the name America, apply a false history to it, claim the name, and we have not objected. Number 3. Number 3. Anybody in the back? Let's 3 American states. 3 American states. No one knows any American states? No one knows any American states? I'm holding the brother off because he has an advantage here. I'm holding him off. No one knows any American states? Yes. What's the answer? Yucatan. City. All right. Anyone else? Good. Anyone else? You don't know your American states? You didn't learn about the American states in school? All right. Let me name 3 American states. Illinois, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Illinois, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Hold up there, Brother Abdullah. I'm waiting for someone to say that. Hold up there, Brother Abdullah. See, no one going to object it. See? I named 3 European foreign corporations, and no one in the audience objected. You allowed the falsehood to go out without it being challenged. This is why the Europeans are ruling. All right? Give me 3 American states. Yes. Venezuela, 1. Belize, 2. Brazil, 3. So those are 3 American states. All right? We clean up misconceptions. We're here to raise you from a dead level to a living perpendicular, for real, not verbally saying that I'm raised, all right, and then had those badges on the car, you know what I mean? Walking around with the Moorish symbol, you know, have all these symbolisms on your chest, and while I'm raised, and I can look at the conditions of our community. While you raised, wow, look at the conditions of our community. All right? Number 4. When did the white people come to America? All right. The white people have been in America for over 50,000 years. White people have been in America for over 50,000 years. Most of you have been conditioned to call the Europeans white people. You don't object when they call themselves white people. You have no idea what it means. In the Black's Law Dictionary, 3rd edition, we have the term free white person. I don't like to be restricted sometimes. You know, I don't look like blocking the energy flow. Free white person. This is the reading from the Black's Law Dictionary, 4th edition revised. The editor of the Black's Law Dictionary is Henry Campbell Black. Free white person. Free white persons, referred to in the Naturalization Act as amended by Act July 14, 1870, has meaning naturally given to it when first used in 1 statute 103, Clause 3, meaning all persons belonging to the European races, then commonly counted as white, and their descendants including such descendants in other countries to which they have immigrated. Now, I want you to, I'm not done. I want you to carefully listen to the annotation section and see the contradiction in the definition. It includes all European Jews, more or less intermixed with peoples of Celtic, Scandinavian, Teutonic, Iberian, Latin, Greek, and Slavic descent. It includes Magyars, Lapps and Finns, and the Basques and Albanians. It includes the mixed Latin, Celtic, Iberian, and Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. Moorish inhabitants of Spain and Portugal. The mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, and North African inhabitants of Sicily. I'll read that again. The mixed Greek, Latin, Phoenician, and North African inhabitants of Sicily and the mixed Slav and Tartar inhabitants of South Russia. It does not mean Caucasian race, Aryan race, Indo-European races, nor the mixed and Indo-European, Dravidian, Semitic, and Mongolian peoples who inhabited Persia. It does not mean Caucasian race. It does not mean Caucasian race. It does not mean Caucasian race. Indo-European race. The Aryan race. But that's a contradiction of the definition that's placed in the Naturalization Act of 1870. Wow. My white brothers and sisters, white power, by the way.
White power.
All right? So I'm giving you a basis. So we've been conditioned to refer to the foreigners, the pilgrims, as American white people, or white America. White America this, white America that, white America that. Not having any idea what we're saying. This is how the Europeans were ruling. Let's continue. Number 5. Take my time so we can get this concept across. All right, we're here to do some raising. Number 5. How old is the American government? How old is the American government? Over 6,000? Over 6,000? All right. Over 50,000 years. You want to find out, as later on in the part of the lecture, that the Moroccan Empire extends throughout the entire Americas and what is now known as the continent of Africa. The Moroccan Empire, Masonically, dialectically called America. Describe the United States flag. Describe the United States flag. Yes, I know. No, that's the system behind you. Let's go. I know. Go ahead. Describe the American flag. I mean, the United States flag. Red, white, and blue. Go ahead. What else? All right. So we have somebody else with the. What is your answer? The United States flag. Do we have another answer? Describe the United States flag. Yes.
If I remember right, what we call it the United States civil flag, which is all white banner with the blue stars, so-called territory. It's the all white background flag with the blue stars, which is supposed to be the number of territory, and vertical, no, horizontal rights, red and stripe, red, white stripe. This is called a civilian flag. You see it right over the United States Custom House downtown.
Put your answer on.
Okay, I said the United States flag was the horizontal stripes with the stars representing those colonies, as well as the yellow fringes representing maritime laws. That's what they do. They don't do it common law.
Anybody else? Yes.
The red flag, white field, and the center with the green tree.
The continental flag, the continental United States flag. All right, the continental United States flag. All right, that's the United States flag. There's more than one United States. Say, the implies that there's one. The car. Cars, the cars, the car. United States flags, the United States flag. All right? The term United States is a political metaphor. It is a generic term and not a national name. Mexico, right? We don't know history. This is what I'm doing is setting platform for you. You know, and I go into the heart of my presentation. But I have to set the platform by clearing up words, by clearing up connotative meaning of words. Connotative means layer, the etymological, denotative means. Layer upon layer upon layer. So the children in the back are taught, in looking up a word, to go to the entry level meaning, which is your 1, 2, 3, and the meanings that are numbered. Those are called entry level meaning or connotative meanings. We have not been taught to go to the brackets. From this day forth, whenever you're looking up a word, you're going to first look at the brackets, examine the brackets, the information that's in the brackets. Etymology, etym, Greek word, means history, true, real. History, true, real. And that's our guiding point. Study. Number 7. Number 7. Number 7. Anyone else?
No. When was Bill Clinton elected as the American president? I don't know if he was elected, whether he was elected or placed there. I don't think he was elected, but I don't think he's the president of America.
Come up here, brother, please. We only have one mic, and I want this answer, your answer, your response.
I don't know Bill Clinton. I don't think Bill Clinton was, in fact, he was never elected as president. He may have been placed there, but he has never been president of America, because America is North America, South, and Central America, which has nothing to do with the United States. So
we say
so he was never elected American president. Why? Because America is not part of the United States. He would be the president of the United States, corporate United States, not America, since America is North, Central, and South.
All right. So the answer is, as brother said, America is 2 continents, North America, South America, an isthmus, Central America, and the islands, Americana. So Bill Clinton was never elected the American president for the reason that I stated. Bill Clinton was never elected president of all of this. Bill Clinton was never elected president of all these territories. All right? That's why. He was never elected president of Mexico, El Salvador, Costa Rica, Panama, Mexico, Haiti, Brazil. He was never elected president of all those territories. That's the answer. So let's continue. Moving on to the heart of my presentation. Whoever heard of the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine? The ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrine. You've heard of the order? Ancient Arabic order. This is the symbol that's used for that order. All right? The Moorish scimitar is placed above the crescent and the star. And this symbolizes the Moabite woman, which is the key to civilization. So we have something that Taj commissioned Brother Leonard to draw this so that we can get it, because it's more European. we get an Asiatic figure here. So now, what we're doing what Drew Ali did, Drew Ali set up with information and through the Moorish Divine National Movement, a political platform, which is a political platform to remove the scimitar, the Moorish scimitar, all right? Putting the Moorish scimitar on your side, because that means that represents freeing the Moors. So that's what we're doing. We're continuing Drew Ali's work. What I'm doing now is removing this scimitar, all right? Putting the star upright, the crescent upright. That's what we're doing through information. So when you see this symbol, what I'm doing is putting the symbol in historical context tonight. It's yours, all right, but not the way it's presented. We didn't present it this way. The European Masons, the ones whom we raised, Ben Bey, Emmanuel Muali raised, positioned it that way. So there's an order called the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine. And you read anything about the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles Mystic Shrine, or how it was started, they present the information that Europeans went to Arabia to gather the information, to get the culture and study. I'm going to show you tonight, through documentary evidence, that that is not so. Through documentary evidence, the structure, the Moorish structure that is preserved and studied in the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of Mystic Shrine is actually the ancient political structure of the Moroccan Empire. I'll show you that. So let's look at that. I'm just presenting information. I need presenting a solid foundation. That's correct. That is the structure that's used in the Ancient Arabic Order of the Nobles of the Mystic Shrine, the Shrine. The Imperial Divine. I'm going to show you treaties, few treaties with divine in it, dating back to the 1660s. Let you know that Europeans did not get this from Arabia. This is they're preserving in the ancient system of the Moroccan Empire. The Moorish Divine, the Imperial Moorish Divine, is a Moorish Council of State. So the Europeans adopted, preserved it, and they established this. They're preserving this and they operate on this structure in their order. All right? That this is a more ancient structure. So our ancestors had set up a political structure here well before 1774. Well before 1774. I'm not starting with 1774. I'm not starting with John Hanson. I'm not starting with John Hanson. We got to go back. We got to go back I'm showing you that there was already an ancient political structure before the Europeans would transport it over here. In the 1600s, during the formation of the colonies. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna give you some. I'm moving ahead of myself. Let me give you this. Right there. I can't find one of my sheets here. Oh, here it is. So I need my glasses. I'm not used to using these, as you know. What do you mean? Move the podium. Move it over here. All right. Can you see? Can everyone see this? All right. Ancient Arabic order of the nobles of mystic shrine. The ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrines organizational structure of the imperial divan is presented below. And that's what I presented earlier. The imperial potentate is the highest ranking officer within the shrine. And that position or seat is symbolic and in honor of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco. Other secret society orders use the titles Sovereign Grand Commander and Royal Monarch in honor of His Imperial Majesty, the Emperor of Morocco. Potentate, what does it mean? The word potentate is derived from Old Moorish Latin potentia, meaning of great power. One who is bestowed the title potentate is one who wields great controlling power. A potentate may also be referred to as a monarch. Thus, the political term monarchy has its origin herein. A monarch is a person who reigns over a kingdom or empire as a sovereign ruler, a constitutional king or queen, or any person holding a preeminent position of power and authority. So what I'm doing is putting these terms in historical context. Most of people, brothers and sisters who have gone through lodges, and they see terms monarch, potentate, sovereign grand commander. They look at it from an organizational perspective, not knowing the historical content. So I'm giving you the historical content, giving you a broader understanding of these words and positions that the Europeans use in their order. They're preserving our empire. They're preserving our culture. So I'm reconnecting you, raising you from a dead level to a living perpendicular. So when you're looking down, you're looking at the perfect point of the square. I'm giving you information. I'm not just saying allegories. I'm not just giving you, signs and symbols. I'm placing the signs and symbols and historical content and applying it to you. You need to have this understanding. Oftentimes we see ourselves as a third party. The Moors. Those Moors. Yeah, I saw the Moors. Man, I haven't seen a Moor in 3 months. The mother's a Moor. And you haven't seen your mother in 3 months? The father's a Moor. You haven't seen your father in 3 months? Sister, aunts, cousins, nephews. You haven't seen them in 3 months? Well, you've been The only way that could be true, the only way this statement could be true, I haven't seen a Moor in 3 months. That you would have to be in your house for 3 months with no one around, for 3 months, that you didn't see any Moor, no father, no wife, no sisters, no brothers, no aunts. That's the only way the statement can be true. That's the only way the statement can be true. It's the only way. So I'm analyzing these statements that we loosely throw out. We're going to be raised tonight. All right? Let's continue. Taking my time. The key is to give you substantive information. The historical and political origin of the imperial divan of the ancient Arabic order of the mystic shrine. Excerpts from treaties between Morocco and the European powers reveal that the imperial structure of the Moroccan Empire is preserved within the ancient Arabic order of the nobles of the mystic shrines, organizational structure of the imperial divan. Notice the title divan in the excerpt of the following treaties. Treaty of Peace and Commerce between Great Britain and Tunis, signed at Tunis the 5th of October, 1662. You know, Europeans went to Arabia and they studied, the culture, and so they came up so that they can establish the ancient order of the nobles of Mixed Shrine. Here's the word right there. Articles of peace between the most serene and mighty Prince Charles II, by the grace of God, King of Great Britain, France, and Ireland, defender of the faith, and the most excellent signors, Mohammed Bashar, the Divan, there it is, the title, 1662. 1662, here's the title. All right, go back to the structure. Of the noble city of Tunis, Haga, Mustafa Bey, Marat Bey, and the rest of the soldiers in the kingdom of Tunis, included by Sir John Lawson, Knight, the 5th of October, 1662. Treaty of Peace between England and Algiers, 10th of November, 1662. If a controversy arises between an Englishman and a Turk, the Divan shall decree justly concerning it, and shall use their endeavor that the quarrel may be accommodated, and that right and justice be administered to whom it is due. All right? Are we clear that that is your structure? Before 1774. Here on this land. We need some more treaty. I haven't done yet. All right? Set the basis, making it very clear that this organizational structure, this Moorish governmental organizational structure, is indeed that, not belonging to the ancient Arabic orders of the nobles of the mystic shrine. They're substitutes. They're studying our culture. They're studying the ancient organizational structure of the Moroccan Empire that was functioning here. This current, modern juristic political order that we call United States, that operates in this part of the Moorish territory, all right, is a modern political order that was established by the Moors. Bey and Taj set up longhouses, which are today called Masonic lodges, and taught Europeans masonry, which is astrology, cosmology, the numbers, the scientific meaning of the numbers 0 through 9, the 12 signs of the zodiac, as being the foundational knowledge of political, governmental structure and function. Without that knowledge of masonry, which is more science, you do not know government. So understand that the founders of this United States that operates in this area are us. That modern political order, once again, is an extinction, represents the culmination of a series of wars dating back to the Punic Wars over 2,000 years ago. The Battle of Tours, 732, the Crusades, the Inquisition, and there's several Inquisitions, particularly the Inquisition against the Moors, called in European reconstructed history as the Spanish Inquisition. The revolutions took place, one that took place in France and here. So we wanted to end the series of wars. So we had to make concessions for the Europeans. We had to bring them into an already organized political structure. Here we go, the imperial divine, an already organized political structure here on this land. Let's look at some, say, Brother Abdullah. How do you know that this is Morocco? I'm going to ask questions that have been posed to me over the years. I'm also going to ask questions that I asked myself as I was doing this research. In the documents, because as I was doing this research years ago, starting back in 1995, I was looking for something that read the Moroccan, that the name America or the Moroccan Empire is in America. And I was looking for statements like that. You're not going to see any statements like that. So then I had to think a different way. All right? Looking at timelines. Analyzing the history, the European reconstructed history that I was indoctrinated to believe. Europeans came over here, set up colonies. They had wars with the Indians. Then I'm looking at came across the Consolidated Treaty Series by Clive, C-L-I-V-E, Perry, P-E-R-R-Y. Rutgers University Law Library in the Moorish territory, where the European Foreign Corporation called Camden, which was established as a corporation over 180 years ago. Third floor, Rutgers University Law Library. They have consolidated a series of treaties, encyclopedia of treaties. So I'm looking and say, how am I going to do this? Because this took over a period of time now. How am I going to present this? So I say, well, I'm going to establish a timeline. Compare the dates of the establishment of European colonies along the Atlantic seacoast and the dates of the diplomatic relations with the Moors and the European powers. Look at the nature of the treaties, the nature of political intercourse. You'll clearly see that during this formation of the colonies along the Atlantic seacoast in the early 1600s, we were in political power. We were both in political and military power. The treaties will give you that information. It will definitely eradicate in your mind that false history that's taught in public schools, colleges, on TV. Let's look at it. Let's look at the extent of the political interchange. Okay, the treaties first. Before I do that, something I overlooked here. These are Moorish names. These Moorish names are named the Europeans in their shrine in honor of us. Use Moorish names to name their temples. There's 191 shrine temples. 191 shrine temples. 191 names here. Look at the names. Abdullah. We have Morocco here. Bey is one of them. Thought I highlighted Bey. Medina, Mecca, Hajj, Jericho, Jerusalem, Luxor. These are names of shrine temples. Why are they using these names? All right, I've showed you by giving you reading excerpts of a few treaties. You see, I'm not used to using this, but that's all right. The first one, it's blurred. February 9, 1651. There's other ones, but the Consolidated Treaty Series didn't have list of treaties between Moroccan Empire and European powers in there. 1651, 1657, 1659, you have treaty between Netherlands and Morocco, treaty between France and Algiers, treaty between Netherlands and Tours and Tunis, 1666, treaty between King Charles was the second King of England and the Prince of Western Barbary, Morocco, signed at Tangiers. Looking at March 11, 1679, treaty between France and Algiers, signed at Algiers. And you read these treaties, look at the nature of the political interchange. Europeans, the treaties were before that. Look at the extent of the relationship. Just look on surface. All right? Look at the extent. I'm not done yet. Look at the extent of the diplomatic relations during the time period in which the colonies were being formed. So they didn't have any relationship with the Moors. They didn't have any relationship with us during the formation of those colonies. The way they present these stories that they came here and set up shop along the Atlantic seacoast. No. They didn't just come here. We had negotiated treaties with them, giving them concessions. We allowed them to set up colonies along the Atlantic Sea coast.
Yes, sir.
They didn't just come here. I don't just go to your house and just enter your house. You invite me to your house. We invited them here, negotiating treaties over an extended period of time. The first German permanent settlement, 1661, Philadelphia. You see look at the European nations on which we treated. England, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Sweden. All right? Well, what colonies were established here? English colonies, Swedish colonies. Manhattan was a Swedish colony, and later a Dutch colony, and later an English colony. From Swedish colony to Dutch colony to English colony. Amsterdam, it's called Amsterdam. They call it, yes, Dutch colony, Amsterdam. The English called Manhattan. All right? So looking at the name, the colonies that were established, the nationalities of the people who were brought over here through the negotiation of Moors, English, Irish, Scottish, Swedish, German, not the Polish, not during this time period. English, the Dutch, Scottish, the Swedes, Germans, the Irish. Look at the treaties. Continue. Brother Atif and I, as I was preparing for this presentation, he and I have had lengthy discussions. And as most of us, in looking at the Treaty of Peace and Friendship dated 17, was signed by our Sultan, June 1786, put in force 1787. That means most people's concept is that Morocco is over in northern part of Africa. That the treaty was signed off this land in the northern part of what is now known as Africa. I'm showing you here that this is Morocco, and those political activities that you read about in reconstructed history and as you were doing your research took place here. The Europeans were not in the political power during the 1600s, mid-1600s, late 1600s. Every time a bey ascended the throne, they had to pay an enormous amount of tribute. Silver plates, silver spoons. Every time a bey ascended the throne, they were paying tribute, enormous amount of tributes. And that's discussed in the treaties. Negotiating the amount of tributes that they would have to pay. Moving up to the 1770s, letters You get those letters from the National Archives. And I'm going to give you some references on microfiche. Carmichael's letters. Give you references. So y'all won't say, man, Abdullah don't know what he's talking about. All right? Index. The Papers of the Continental Congress, 1774 to 1789. Go to Library of Congress, or you go to the National Archives. I've done extensive research at the National Archives. And I started with George Washington's letter, because George Washington's letter and the treaty, because that's all I had. You know, those are the two pieces of little documents that Taj gave me back in '93. So I began my research from the proper concept of the history, all right? But many people were throwing questions at me. How do you know this? How do you know this is Moroccan Empire? How do you know this? All right? So I wanted to stand firm on my position. Being able to teach it, as I'm doing here tonight, and be able to defend our position. Be firm, not being shaky, unsure. Well, I'm not quite sure. I'm sure. All right? So you have the National Archives, your list of letters. We have, this is, let me put this on a, so I go through this. As you can see, I like to walk around, you know, that's my energy. These are Papers of the Continental Congress, letters received from William Carmichael. Letters received from William Carmichael, 1776 to 1791. 1776 to 1791. So this is a collection of letters that William Carmichael had in his library. And those letters, but I'll read a few of them. Not few of the letters, but you have letters from Stephen D. Oliver, Cali et Sal, Council for Unrepresented Nations at the Court of the Emperor of Morocco. There's no date on that one. Microfiche, the number, the reference, and the microfiche section of the National Archives is M247, R125, I98, page 272. List of distribution of effects sent to the Bey of Tunis and his family. And I meant to bring some of the letters, and in our haste, you know, I forgot and in Philadelphia. So I'm just going to name some of the references, all right, so that you can do your research. List of distribution of effects sent to the Bey of Tunis and his family. That's M247, R125, I98, pages 171 to 172. And you'll see I have quite a few references to M247. So if you go to M247, R125, you'll see a lot of the treaties letters. And I'm just giving you the page number. So it's M247, R125, I98, and you have different pages. All All right, so that's, I paid the distribution of effects. Another, I can read another one. Presents made in the last instance to the day of Algiers, translated from the original by John Pintar. It's 2 pages. M247, R125, I98, pages 130, 230 to 231. Account of the presence of the King of Morocco distributed on occasions of the peace in 1767. M247, R125, I98, pages 140 to 143. Distribution of the presents from the custom given by the French nation at Tunis at the revival of peace, the Divan not included, October 20th, 1771, and this is M247, R125, I98, page 161. Lafayette, Marquis de Lafayette, memorandum, tribute paid, go to the Bey of Tunis, October 28, 1771. That's in French. M247, R125, I98, pages 108 to 109. Account of different presents extraordinary which the Emperor of Morocco received from different powers at the end of the year 1772. 3 pages, M247, R125, I98, pages 147 and 148. Account of the present remitted in 1774, Sweden, on account of the ascension of the actual Bey, M247, R125, I98, page 138. All right, I'm doing this to give you references. All right, giving you documentary evidence so that you can have a solid foundation to which to argue. At the airport coming here, Friday, last week, I showed, took me 45 minutes to get through. In fact, I nearly missed the plane. I showed my international road travel, and on the side it reads, Al Moroccan Empire. Our Moroccan Empire. So they asked me, I was asked several times, do you have any other form of identification? Driver license. I was asked several times, the same question several times. Are you sure you have any other forms of identification? Driver license, credit card, etc. All right? So, one of the, it was 3 Europeans there, and one of them asked me, and looking at the identification, do you have a passport? How did you get into the country without a passport? So I already knew the nature of the question. The nature of the question is that the assumption is that I was born in the Kingdom of Morocco, born and raised in the Kingdom of Morocco, all right? And so they want to know that how do you come here without a passport? All right? That's the nature of the question. That's the assumption. And I said that this is Morocco. Huh? I said, oh, I understand. I can understand why you had your wide, so they're wide. Because you have been indoctrinated in public schools that the name America is derived from the name Americo Vespucci, thus the name of the country. That's not so. The name America has a much ancient etymological origin. It is a dialectical, this is what I'm saying to him. It's a dialectical corruption of the name Morocco during the Moroccan Empire. I didn't have a Federal Reserve note on me, or one note. All right? And I said, on the back of the Federal Reserve note that you call the dollar bill because of, you know, political trainings in the public schools, there's an obverse and reverse seal of this nation. The pyramid is the great seal of this government. The eagle is the reverse, the daughter side. All right, so they asked me, well, what name? So when that was established, they said, oh, you're Native American. I said, yes. I'm Aboriginal and indigenous to the land. Yes. So that's been established. All right. So we already got out that I, you know, born somewhere else in the Kingdom of Morocco, and that was already, I got that out of the way. Well, you sure you don't have any other form of identification? Well, what name is on the birth certificate? All right. Now, when I sent my paperwork to the Social Security office, it has Abdullah Bey resolves, gives back the European name to Europeans. Wayne gives back Wayne Washington to the European powers. All right. So they type up Abdullah Bey, that's going to come up. So I don't run from that. They ask me the question, I'm going to answer the question. One, there's no name on that negotiable instrument. It's an it. The legal fiction and not a name on the birth certificate is Wayne Brockington. Well, is that what your mother named you? Brockington. The English name was forced on my family. I'm famous in the airport, at the check spot in the airport. Because they asked me, I gotta defend this. I gotta defend this. If I want to come here and give a lecture, I gotta stand on what I know. I gotta defend this in public. I just can't come here and give a lecture and tell you, show you through documentary evidence that this is the Moroccan Empire. And not be able to defend it when I'm called upon to defend it. This is the Moroccan Empire. Make it very clear. Those its, legal fictions, are not names. Never, ever, ever refer to them as names. My formal name, my slave name, slave in Slavic. None of my people, none of the Moors branded Negro, color, black, or transacting business have ever transacted business in slave name. They haven't. Slave is Slavic. All right? Once known as the name that I used to go by, never refer to them as names. They are legal fictions, corporate entities. They are it. You make your statement, all right? So don't get caught up with how someone's going to respond to you. You make the statement, because what you're doing, you're setting up later on for a suit. That's why you do that. But you got to make the statement on the spot. So clearing our concepts of who we are. Someone asked me earlier, Do they need to get, if it's the Moorish National Bureau or Moorish National Bureau of Vital Records, and our brother asked me, is that legitimate? I said, it certainly is. I said, brother, you set up a political order in your territory, teach classes, and set up Moorish council in your house. All right? The records that come from that political body is legitimate. The concept is that we need some documentation from the Europeans who are sitting in our seat. That we need validation from them. So if you don't have a documentation written by them, structured by them, sanctioned by them, whatever you do is not legitimate. So I said to the brother, we are the Americans. We are the white people. We are superior to the Europeans. They are foreigners. They are pilgrims. So we got to be clear on as to who we are. And a lot of the questions are based on the fact that we're not quite sure. All right? We've been conditioned all our lives, under the subjugation of Roman rule. And so suddenly, as we're waking up, we still view the Europeans as the white people, as the Americans, as the sovereigns of the land. And if nothing is sanctioned by them, it can't roll. It's not legitimate. You set up a Moorish political order because that the power in which to do that is derived from your birthright. That power is not derived from European. You cannot get that political power from the European. You cannot get that political power from someone who's subordinate to you in political authority. I know they're sitting in your seats, but that doesn't move who you are. Because I come to your house and throw you out of your house, it is still your house by birthright. You have the lawful, the Druid claim, rightful claim to the house. You're just defeated, unseated, dethroned. We're dethroned. There's nothing wrong with that. But know that you're dethroned. And the ones who are sitting in your seat are imposters. They're substitutes. Substitute white people. Substitute sovereigns. Not white people. Substitutes. Feigning as white people. They're feigning as Americans. And every time you call them white American, white people, American, you actually extend to them the sovereign political power and authority that you are seeking to regain. You're doing all this work, all this study, and you call them white man. You just neutralize your whole position. White America, you just neutralize your whole position. I'm talking about the spirit of your position is neutralized. So we got to be clear that we are white America. So continue. Now let's look at, I'm going to continue with these list of treaties here. Finish that. So add more. All right, just look at the extent of the diplomatic relations. Right? Before 1774. All right? Before 1774. Our ancestors set up government. preserved, the structure is preserved in the various Masonic lodges. Let's take some of those down.
Show this one.
Yes.
February 24th, 1740, is that the 42? What day is that? Because you left the
Before this, after it.
The 17th, the February 24th, yes, what day is that? 1740 what?
Oh, that's probably 42,
Okay.
43. Yeah. I don't now know. Oh, here it is, 42.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Thank you for that. I'm just, just presenting documentary, these are references to documentary evidence. All right. Consolidated treaty says you can do, I'll have these. This will be in my book, my series of books, revealing the Masonically buried history of the de jure United States Republic, connecting the Moors and Europeans historically, Masonically, and constitutionally. The cover's not done. There's going to be a fez here. All right, Ross Mariah, who works with Taj and me, she's doing my layout. It's going to be a series of books. Looking at I'm gonna have the treaties in the series of books. I'm gonna have the letters in the series of books. I mean, this research will be available to y'all. Treaties, letters, this book. All right, this will be available. All right, I've been working on this since 1996, 97. All right, just getting my concepts straight. Means clear on the concepts myself. Reading, analyzing, discussing it. Treaty of Peace and Friendship of 1787. And I looked at that, I said, we're the sovereigns. I said, because a few nationalized Moors during that time were saying that we need to set up embassies. I said, we're the sovereigns. See, I was clear on that. We don't need to set up embassy in our own land. Right? So legal, it's a negotiable instrument. Take our time. I gotta give you reference points. Gotta give you something that's substantive. Give you information that you can put your hands on. Point you into the right direction of study. All right, so what I'm doing here, it's not much, but the key is, the Taj has always said, give them key points. So I don't need to stand up here for 4 or 5 hours if I just give you key points of information and putting the information in a structure that relates to us. Right? All right, on the back. Read the phrase under the period. All right, the Great Seal. The Great Seal. Read the phrase, prepositional phrase, under the eagle. Which side is the Great Seal of our illustrious government? Masonically called United States. But they left out the national name, Morocco. United States of Morocco. United States of Morocco. So the Europeans, by conspiracy, don't say the national name of this government. George Bush does not say the national name of this government. He leaves out the national name. It says United States. United States of Morocco. 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 In the United States, no, United States of Morocco. It's going to take us some time, I know. I understand. We're going to be a little unsure. I understand. Because we're going to look at the European reconstructed history as being the standard. We're going to analyze everything from the European reconstructed history. If the European doesn't say, well, when I went, to court, and, they said that we're not Moors. Wow. Descendant of someone who conquered our ancestors, who's oppressing, who's part of the Roman political order that's oppressing our people, said that we're not Moors. And you ran with that. Dang, man, we ain't Moors, man. Dang, man, the white man said we're not Moors. The white man said we're not Moors. Man, we ain't Moors, man. Shucks, man. So I went to court, man, that white judge said we're not Moors, man. So you don't know what you're talking about. See, Abdullah, man, you dumb. Man, you don't know what you're talking about, Abdullah, because the white man said we're not Moors, man. Nah. You know what you're talking about, Abdullah. You know what I mean? And I'm not exaggerating. No, I may be up here looking silly right now. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not making it up. I'm not going to make up some scenario. I'm talking about what I've heard over the years. All right? So, you have the word one. Because it's actually one seal. It's not two. So I want you to put the note together and point to the pyramid and say, this is the obverse. This is the obverse. This is the obverse side of the Moorish national seal. The reverse is the daughter. The eagle is the reverse. George Bush. You'll see in the podium or in the background. The reverse of the seal of the United States of Morocco. United States of Morocco has a dual national seal. Pyramid, mother, eagle, daughter. Daughter, mother, daughter. Chief, obverse means the chief or principal side of a coin or building. It means chief or principal or main. Reverse, verse, turn, R-E, back, turn back. The front of my hand and the back side. Obverse, reverse. All right? You will see in literature written by Europeans, large initiated Masons, the word reverse under the pyramid. What are they doing? Stealing our birthright. They are taking the place of the white people. They're taking the place of the Americans. And we have not challenged that. One, we're not in the right mind to challenge it. That's why we're here. put us in the right mind to challenge the Europeans' false claim of our birthright. It must be done in political order. It must be done with the knowledge and truth of our nationality birthright. So we're clear on that. All right, right on. How much time do I have? Who has the time? What time is it? Quarter after what? All right. I'm going to go a few more minutes. I don't want to take all the time from Brother Taj. I can go now. Because I'm telling, because I know how much time I have, and I'm really tailoring my presentation here. All right? We're going to save the questions for the end. All right? You'll see in the map that's in the what's it called? The exotic map. The exotic map in King Arthur clan. And they'll have you see Tunis, Tripoli, and Algiers. And I studied that. I said, looking at reading the treaties and the political power that is expressed in those treaties that the Kingdom of Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, Tangiers had, that these were much vast territories here. All right, so I'll say, well, it can't be these little small cities here. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli. All right. You ever seen the cartoon Morocco Mole, Bullwinkle and Morocco Mole? And Morocco Mole is wearing what? Is that done by coincidence? Wow. There's something to think about. All right? So I'm going to end here. And this is Brother Taj and I go way back. I owe a great deal to Brother Taj, Tarik Bey. Father, I have my stepfather, now made his transition. He was a father to me, But during my adult years, Brother Taj, and we've been close. I've known Taj most of my adult life. I was 24, I think, when I met Taj. So I've known Taj most of my adult life. All right. Brother, friend. I remember when I met Brother Taj in 1993, October 1993, met at Jimmy's Barbershop. And at that time, I had, been studying under Brother Jamal, But Brother Taj really hit it on the, really cleared up, the symbology on the back of the Federal Reserve note. And I picked that up quickly. I was clear of who we were. I just didn't have enough information, to stand firmly on it. And I remember for the first 3 years, we studied day and night. He would throw a lot of things at me. My head would be spinning. History, law, astrology. Some of the stuff I got, because it took, I was like, he was throwing stuff at me, throwing a lot of information. And it took me a while to really digest it, where I can stand firmly on it. Because it was a lot. Wow. And so, and I thank him, for spending the time with me, for teaching me, for raising me from a dead level to a living perpendicular. So as I was looking down, I was looking at the perfect points of a square. All right? So that I can assist him in teaching you. All right? Because I would not be any use to him if I did not know that if I myself was not educated as to the truth about a nationality birthright, about the truth about the function of nationality birthright, the history, the culture. All right, so, you know, as we work together, and there's times where I'm by myself in New York and Delaware and teaching. All right, but so I owe a great deal, you know, to Brother Taj, you know, for I would not be in the position that I am today, you know, as far as standing up here, teaching you, you know. It had not been for Brother Taj's dedication, determination, you know, being patient with me. He saw in me, you know, that I was sincere and determined, you know, to assist in the upliftment of fallen humanity. But I knew that I needed to be educated. And I thought I was educated, you know, because I got a master's degree in social work, you know, from Rutgers University, School of Social Work. You know, I thought I was, you know, educated, and I really wasn't. You know, in 1998, I started studying etymology, you know, grammar, vocabulary building, dictionary study skills, Latin, Greek, you know, vocabulary building skills. I can write curriculum. I can teach teachers. You know, and I teach at Temple University, Pan-African Studies Community Education Program. All right. Though Brother Taj did not, you know, he gave me a little bit of etymology, but as far as giving me the structural knowledge of etymology, Professor Burton, but I still owe that to Brother Taj. Because Brother Taj put me in the right mental framework, all right, to seek out etymology. Had I not been in the framework of our ancient forefathers and foremothers, I would not have even sought out etymology. Because I saw it as related to what we were already doing. To help me increase my writing skills, increase my communication skills, all right? Increase my vocabulary, my studies, you know. Brother Taj appointed me the assistant of the education at the Writing Sun Institute, which is the school of the Moorish Order Roundtable established by Taj Tarik Bey, I think in 1985. All right, so I knew that I had to increase my skills. All right, so now that I've written several books, I teach teachers, I lecture. All right, so I understand. I'm able to read better, you know, understanding, you know, shades of meaning of words, looking at how words, the meaning of words in the various time periods, and how it's important to understand that. And reading a document written a couple hundred years ago, you need to read in the spirit in which the time period in which it was written, not applying modern connotative meanings to that document. And so I know that, all right? I'm going to bring up my illustrious brother, you know, a true warrior for our people, Brother Taj Tarik Bey.
I want to first give notice. I want to give notice to everyone that Brother Abdullah came to the round table. I remember they were teaching him at what was that spot that they were preparing you for the ministry?
A church.
I can't remember the name of the church.
Community.
Oh yeah, Sun Community Center in East Camden, Pennsauken.
Yeah.
Judah.
Yeah.
Judah Fellowship. community center, something like that.
They were preparing him for the ministry, right? And so he came to the round table, and by him having a degree already, a master's degree, and he's always been skilled at bringing groups of people together. So logically, with the psychology of going to the church, he was defensive. He came with other people, and people used to come to my house. I used to give lessons 3 times a week. And I used to feed the people, and I would give them literature. And I did that for 13 years until I went broke. And I kept it up. And then we started holding round table at Brother Alim's place, who passed form. And he held a position of Haji for the round table. The interesting thing, because Dooley was so strong and he had a good background, so you know, the minister was a little upset because he come to get this kind of information or whatever. So I said to him, I said, Abdullah, I'm going to give you some questions. I'm going to write them down, and I want you to take them to your minister. Right? Dooley, he can talk about that later some other time, but he took the questions around to the minister. He came right back around. Was it about 2 weeks, Dooley? And about that same time, he left the church. And he's been working ever since. And here he is now, since then. And since then, he's traveled many paths. He's taught many children. We founded the Rising Sun Institute. And we had a building, 711 Kane Avenue. And we bought the building from Old Elks. Now, and so it was already Masonically laid out. So it was already laid out according to the Circle 7. All right, now, and I remember over a period of time, because the building was empty, it had a grand staircase, beautiful building. And on the top floor, it had a room that had a glass dome with 12 lights in it, 12 glasses in it. And we preserved that for the sisters, and we call that the Zodiacus room, right? And I remember there was a lot of people used to come to my house, they'd be on the front step in the yard, up the steps, in the living room, in the dining room. And we used to do that all the time, and it was just too big. But I recall when we got the building, they had investors coming from all over the place, coming from New York and other places, investing in Cannon, Philadelphia area. And so logically, the buildings, just like you see some places in Chicago and Detroit and those areas like that, grand buildings, but no one has a finance to deal with them, like that. So they were coming in, and even small junk buildings were starting off, falling down on the ground, starting off $10,000, $15,000 at the beginning of the bids, right? And so the average people in the city couldn't handle it because they were giving $60,000, $70,000, and $80,000 for 2-story houses that was just ordinary homes. And you know, the people in the city couldn't, it's gentrification, you know what it is. So anyway, we had a meeting at the round table, and I was telling them the science of the Circle 7, not what they think they see. And we needed a building, and I said, we're going to get the Elks Lodge on Kane Avenue, 711. And they said, well, you know, logically, we got kind of money. The little buildings were going for big money, so we know we ain't getting that one, right? I said, well, we're going down there tonight, and we're going to put our hands on the building. Then I'm going to go to the city, and we're going to bid on it when they auction it, right? So we went down to me, Brother Abdullah, my sister, Hadira, Brother Haris, Albury, and a few others. So anyway, when we got down to the auction the next week, everybody, all those developers coming there, right? So we came down there, we were dressed. And I had my garb on, right? So I came in, we sat down in the middle, and all these developers, they hitting all these things, right? And so they give you a number. So when that building came up, I did like that, right? And then all the developers put it up, right? So I did like that again. People turned around and looked around. And then everybody stopped putting their thing up. We got the building for $5,000. All right? Now, thereafter, Europeans kept trying to buy the building from us because that's an empowerment zone and they were investing a lot of financing here. Right? Meanwhile, many of the Moors who were becoming conscious, even with other groups and some people from the Nation of Islam and a lot of Moors that have come around, because people were talking about what I said, and we got that building, and they thought I was joking, so we got the building. So they were backing off so that we couldn't get the building together. So Brother Abdullah, Brother Alim, and myself took finance out of our own pockets and we paid the building off. Brother Abdullah, in the evening, when I would come home from work and he'd come home from work, held a flashlight inside, and I put the electrical panel in and started making repairs by hand until we could stabilize the building in order to get some work done. That's how dedicated he is. But anyway, eventually, to cut through the chase, eventually the Europeans set the building on fire twice because I wouldn't sell it. You know, so the Rising Sun Institute did not rise, but yet we got on the road and started taking it to the people. Because we were also being criticized and knocked by the grand sheiks who thought I was trying to take over their seats. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's like this. Once the children of the light recognize the message, it doesn't matter because they can't win now because they're irrelevant. Because the people understand birthright. And Noble Drawley is back on the front burner with a divine and national understanding which Hoover and Woodrow Wilson have suppressed for quite some time. They thought they stopped him, but it's over now. Because Uranus and Saturn is in the house and all their stuff is coming down. And no one can stop it. So let's get down to some lessons. Because we want to make sure that you all understand what birthright is, what nationality is, not what people, some critics have tried to imply that it ain't, or that it's a belief system. It is the consanguinity of your ancient mothers and fathers imprinted in the cells of your memory. It is your birthright. It is divine, it is unalienable, cannot be sold, cannot be transferred. And when someone tries to sell you a package to sell you sovereignty through the birthright, they're a thief. And you being played because it can't be sold. And understand that the Europeans, the Romans, took your birthright. They know it very well. So if you think you want to buy some packages, go down to CVS, make some copies, smack Goliath in the face and not get a response, you better think about it again. It's in your best interest to study very well to understand what's going on a planet called Earth. Because they're not playing. The inheritance is yours, but you need to understand honestly what it is. And as we were talking earlier, you know, about consulates and things that we should do. The Moorish Holy Temple of Science in North America is that consulate. The Moorish Science Temple of America is that consulate. Whether or not those wizards who are sitting in the seats have been doing their job is another issue. That's what you can determine. I won't criticize them. Do you understand? We're here to make sure you understand what to measure things by. That's all. Because it is your mother's inheritance that was supposed to be delivered to you quite a few generations ago. It hasn't been delivered, Islam, because we have some thieves around and they keep on twisting the people's concepts and then trying to knock those who've been really doing the work and who've been soldiering like this brother here. That's nothing new. It's old hat. But right now, understand this. once you have knowledge of what is and what is not, you will no longer be able to be fooled, because truth doesn't change or pass away. The deal is, most of the people have been given misinformation, so they don't know how to look at things. They don't know how to use things. They've just been given testimonial type statements and therefore have misunderstood Noble Drew mission. And because they thought they got rid of him, they figured the job was done. No, all they did was slow him down. But he got soldiers, and they're all around here. Many of them been working in this city for years, getting criticized, getting knocked, and pushed away, but they stayed diligent to their charge on the square, and they will be remembered in history, because you're living that history right now. I'm going to show you a few more things to remove all doubt that you're in the Moroccan Empire. Show you a few more things to remove all doubt that they stole your birthright. Show you a few more things in evidence, because in the rule of law, evidence, proof, tangible reference points are the basis of establishing identity. Failure to do so, to show that a person, place, thing, idea that's presented before society or court is exactly what and who they say they are. If you fail that, identity by law is failed. But Noble Drew gave you a nationality identification card, didn't he? Problem is, some of those who he taught to teach you how to use it, I won't say they failed in their duties, I say they was preoccupied collecting silver coins. You ever heard of the Judas factor? And this is why many people today don't appreciate the work that Noble Drew did, because they don't understand it. And then you have others who are preoccupied worshiping him rather than studying the words and the rules and the instructions that he left for you to be redeemed. It is your job to see that we get past those sorcerers, and you want to do it with knowledge. But one thing for sure, somebody can say, them brothers is talking trash. Well, we're going to give you reference points so that you know that what we're standing on, the whole world knows. Then let them say that then. And let them prove themselves to be the enemies of this cause. I'm going to show you a few things who assigned, with the transference of the amendments to the Constitution, and there's 4 of them, the latest one, petitioned for George Washington, the Army General, to take the place of Ben Franklin in a praetor's seat, since Ben claimed to be sick. But he was already assigned that seat under the authority of your forefathers. Meanwhile, our government was being overthrown. That's why that pyramid is on the back of the dollar bill and no politician speaks under it, because the Great Seal belongs to you, the true heirs apparent to the land, who don't know who you are. Meanwhile, you got leader guys amongst you who have been deceiving you and distracting your attention and stealing finance from you and producing nothing to keep you from finding out. While most of them belong to secret societies and take an oath to Rome not to reveal the secrets. And Rome gives them a 501c3 tax-exempt status instrument, means that they're agents of the state to keep you believing but not knowing. Now that's the uncomfortable truth, and it really is. But it's time that you be redeemed, that we might save our babies and stop these funeral homes from popping up, burying our children that don't have gray hair. Do you understand? Because Mother Nature does not respect person or station or your belief systems. And you better start dealing with reality, because you're not going to be here in a minute if you stay asleep. That's why the prophet came. Now, George Washington was the 9th president of the transition after the last amendment to the present Constitution that you're using today, but he wasn't the first. In line, he would be number 15. Do you understand? The reason that knowledge has been hidden from you, because once you would do the research and travel the planet and start dealing with other nations who would have verified to you that Noble Raleigh is correct, you would have found your connection to this said government and recognize that you are part and parcel. And parcel is a legal word which means land. So some of the agents that work for Hoover and them changed the document and put partial, which means attitude, so that you would not recognize that little subtlety of them helping the Europeans steal your birthright for a few pieces of silver. But we're here to make sure that you understand that you're free on your own, and that you need no crutches, also that you don't need us. If we pass or cross paths, we can build some things. But when we leave here, we don't want you to need us. We want you to be able to walk on your own. Ain't no training wheels here. Furthermore, you ain't got time for it, because they're trying to liquidate now, because the world has lost confidence in them and are voting no confidence by dumping the Vatican's Federal Reserve notes that they fooled you and made you think was part of the United States Republic government, which it is not. They're creditor collectors for European family holders under sharecropping. This is why they're cashing in all the mortgages that they had these people thinking they owned under feudal law, and they own absolutely nothing. So while it may be difficult for some people to understand this movement or to be involved, or they say, well, I gotta work, I gotta live, I ain't got time for that, but I do understand, but you know, one of these days, well, guess what? Nothing they got is secure. And the time will come, not too long from now, they'll be knocking on your door 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning to get an explanation of what this is that they've been ignoring, because they're gonna need it. Our job is to make you understand what it is so you can start working for yourself. This is from George Washington's Grand Lodge Museum in Alexandria, Virginia, named after Alexander the Great, who burned the temples of Luxor, the world's largest library, when the Christians were burning the books to start the fall of the Moorish Empire. The temples of Luxor, Alexander the Great, and they got a shrine there, and they put your history there, and this is to show you, particularly the brothers and sisters who are confused about the Bey, the Moors, and speaking of the Moors from a third-party perspective. And then some people say, well, the Europeans, they don't really know, you know, because, yeah, let me show you. This is one of the pictures that's in that museum. People come from around the world taking these pictures, and our people's on the corners selling drugs to each other and don't even know the history right in that building. All right? Now listen, this is an oil painting of many. This is a mystic prophet amongst the Europeans who are governing the jurisdiction north, jurisdiction south, with your birthright. The government behind the government. Can you hear me? Yes. So what we're exposing to you is the great Masonic secret, which is you. And then we're exposing to you some of the people who are really running your lives. And it ain't Bush. He's a pawn. The mystic prophets, wizards, are running this. And believe me, it ain't a movie. You see that Bey on his vest? Is that a European? Huh? Oh, they don't know what Bey is? They don't know what Elam Bey is? Let me give you something else to pass around. I'm going to speak of these, and then I'm going to give them to the app here to pass to you. So I'm going to try to give you a synopsis of what these are so you'll have an idea. This is in the museum, and it's in what is known as the President's Room. And all of these are hand-carved figures that every hour begin to rotate around the Taj Mahal, with a pyramid at the front, with oil paintings of all the Masonic presidents in this room on the walls, including the President of Mexico with a fez on his head with Islam on it from the 1800s, since you think you know the history in the Western Hemisphere. This is a mystic prophet with a fez on, Muslim on it. These are the same people that when they're on TV say they're Christians, that they transfer to you. They traded places with you. They got you following Roman Constantine, the murderers of the prophets, while they traded places with you and took your seat. That's what Masonry is. Masonry is Islam in secret, but the science of it, not the ritual, the science that runs the planet. That's the great Masonic secret. Moors, and they got your birthright. Now what you going to do about it? Because you've been delivered. Whosoever will, let them come. You don't want it? That's fine. Whosoever will, let them hear. Want it? Fine. O'Draley brought this since 1913. It's getting late. And they're liquidated because they're getting ready to get out of here. It's your house. Islam. This fez right here in a glass case in a regalia room with George Washington's tool when he was raised in the Masonic Lodge, and all his Bible, his Quran, his tools, his Egyptian tools, the zodiac on pillars, etc. This is in the glass case. This one right here, countdown number 6 to the right. You see Ben Bey? That's the fez of the one you've been taught in school is Ben Banner. Belongs to him, Chief Justice. These are fezes in glass cases, or a room full of these of lodges from around the world. And all of them got Moorish names because they stole your birthright while you've been filling Constantine's church and funding your own enslavement. Because the one they call Jesus is not Jesus, that's a password. His name is Yahushua. And he was Yehudi, what you call Jew. They lied on him and you've been had. Here's more the mystic prophet that's been running the Western Hemisphere, your birthright, that's why you're poor. And that's why your babies are dying in the street. It's called genocide. Islam Queens, Islam brother, Islam Queen. In the president's room, they got pillars of stone. They're obelisks. And all of them are Moorish names. How come the so-called black leaders who always got one foot in the church and one in the White House don't tell you about this when they shaking Bush's hand trying to get a job? That's to give you something to think about. This is Executive Order 11490 from the Executive Branch of Government, United States Republic, Military Strategy, and I know most of you have heard this before, King Alfred. Raise your hand if you've heard of King Alfred Plan. I know a lot of you have heard about it. And I know a lot of so-called black leaders have mentioned this and called the Europeans racist, went through their whole triad and everything. but they always conveniently miss the part that admits that you're bound to this continent, that you're the inheritor of this continent. They just talk about racism. They got you thinking that we're going to pack up and go back to Africa, somewhere else. You're standing on Africa. Great Masonic secret. That's why they don't deport us. They keep building jails. All right? Then they got black leaders to keep promoting black so that you can't tie your lineage and history and you lose the inheritance because you cannot claim the inheritance if you don't honor your mothers and your fathers. And they weren't black. You can take a third-year degree child in third grade, teach them basic grammar, the 8 parts of speech, take them to a dictionary, which I got one right here, and if anybody want to get up and read it, you can, and you'll see black's an adjective. And a child knows that it can't be an identity. But you got grown people with the mentality of boys and girls that teach their children that that's an identity in some country in Africa, and that they're saved, while their babies are dying in the street as we speak. Hypocrites. And can't read. Oh, they can pronounce things. But anyway, let's get through the chase. I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs to you from the executive order. You make your own considerations, but I suggest that you make some notes here. You've got your pencils and papers, because you know you don't come to our place without pencils and papers, because we don't deal with police, we deal with facts. Because you're in the Rising Sun Institute today. Get my expected QLs. And I would suggest to you to do some research on the one they call King Alfred in history, so that you would have an idea what connection they have to you. Oh, by the way, these are the concentration camps. They already got ready for you. Black leaders telling you to believe and just keep hope alive one of these days. While they go to the Bahamas with Susie with Jesus' hand. It's the truth. I know it's uncomfortable, but it's the truth. And guess what? They know this truth too. Top secret. Silent weapons for quiet wars. Remember, this is a military manual. You were not supposed to see this. You were not supposed to hear this. And you were not supposed to give them the keys to analyze this. An introductory programming manual. Operations Research Technical Manual TN-SW7905.1. And you can start on page 3. Listen carefully, listen carefully, listen carefully. So that you can understand why politicians tell you one thing and do another. Leave no doubt as to why, because now you know the game. You've been playing chess and keep on losing. Don't you think you're going to win sometime? All right, because now you know the hand, the mark, the deck is marked, right? The pieces are marked, right? All right, now you know. Security. It is patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society, i.e., the engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons, on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life, i.e., slavery and genocide. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent, and such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without the full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodology for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. The solution of the day's problems require an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural values. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity, and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without a loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are expressed in your best interest. Do not deviate from them. This publication marks the 25th anniversary of the Third World War, called the Quiet War, being conducted using subjective biological warfare fought with silent weapons. And this book contains an introductory description of this war, its strategies, and its weaponry, May 1979, number 74-1120. I'm going to go into another part to show you your connection to the land and that they know it, but they also know that your black leaders are paid off not to tell you this. They're paid to have you marching around, getting beat up, hoses sticked on you and dogs and stuff like that while they get paid. Particularly knowing that Civil Rights Act was struck down in 1886 as unconstitutional, that has never changed. And since these Asiatics have been using European names to vote with, they have to pay a tax. That's why the president, CEO, has to sign the Civil Rights Act bill every couple of presidents so that those persons branded Negro can vote with their European names that they're using that don't belong to them as property. Just in case you didn't know. Now, I'm going to skim through this and get to some points to give you some balance in the information that we're presenting to you so that you can understand that while you may be naive in some political matters, that the world is not naive. And don't ever assume that they are. And don't assume that because these things aren't discussed by others, don't assume that they don't know. It's not in their social and political interest to tell you these things. However, if it's a Moorish American got a nationality card, it's their job to have told you this decades ago. Right. Not today. Decades ago. Not today. Decades ago. But some of them got nice Lexuses and Cadillacs and parishes and churches for Rome and told you that Ruth wasn't a Moabitess. Well, Ruth was a Moabitess. And Ruth was Jesus' great-great-grandmother. And you Moabite too, because your hair is like lamb's wool, and your skin is like burnished brass. And that Roman they got sitting up there in Yahshua, it's Constantine. That's, as a matter of fact, it's Michelangelo's nephew. I think it's uncle. His uncle. And you've been worshiping Constantine, the murderers that murdered the prophets. It's where you got it going on while your babies are dying in the street. Note, at the appropriate time, to be designated by the president, the leaders of some of these organizations, which they had named before, which I won't name because some of them you're familiar with and I don't want them to get all upset, because we tell them. Some of these organizations are to be detained only when it is clear that they cannot prevent the emergency. Working with local police officials during the first critical hours. All other leaders are to be detained at once. Compiled lists of minority leaders have been readied at the National Data Computer Center. It is necessary to use the minority leaders designated by the president in much the same manner in which we use minority members who are agents with central and federal. And we cannot, until there is no alternative, reveal King Alfred in all its aspects. Minority members of Congress will be unseated at once. This move is not without precedent in American history. That's the Attorney General. Preliminary memo from the Department of Defense This memo is being submitted in lieu of a full report from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And that report is now in preparation. There will be many cities where the minority will be able to put into the street a superior number of people with a desperate and dangerous will. He will be a formidable enemy, for he is bound to the continent by heritage. He is bound to the continent by heritage, and knows that political asylum will not be available to him in other countries. The greatest concentration of the minority is in the Deep South, Eastern Seaboard, the Great Lakes region, right here, and the West Coast. Black leaders have been telling you that they brought you from over there, didn't they? Didn't they tell you that? And they've been telling you that since you was in school. And most of us think that way, don't we? Therefore, we have no mental connection to this land, do we? But we do have a consanguine interest. It is your inheritance, and you don't even know it. And these leaders who they've assigned to you told you you were saved while they're getting paid. And then they take an oath of secrecy to these Romans to keep you sleeping while they rake in the coins from you and the state. Do you know that when you get married and the agents of the state say, by the power vested in me by the state of Illinois, I pronounce you man and wife, do you know where that certificate goes? It gets mortgaged and filed in the Department of Orphans. How many people do that? And they own the womb. And anything that comes from the womb comes under wardship tenures of admiralty law for European families who own the name and the womb of the woman because of that certificate. Then they accuse her of having signed the child over, then they mortgage the child with a birth certificate and sell it around the world until it collapses under fractional loaning, fractional ascended percentages. Do you understand? You really need to understand how this government has been working and why things keep going down. Why you know, people keep working and they keep making what they think is money. And how is it that they keep going in debt then? It used to be grandpa was working. We had what, grandma, grandpa, 2 families in the house. We didn't always have everything, but nobody's starving. Now you got mom, dad, grandpa, son, daughters working, and they got 1 foot on the street and 1 foot in the house. And 2 or 3 paychecks, they may not have a roof. And they ain't figured it out yet. They don't know they're sharecropping because they think they own this stuff. Confident, I'm working hard. Ain't this fixed? They don't own nothing. It's all boarded to the state under wardship tenures. I'm going to read from the law book, Henry Campbell Black's law book, Ancient and Modern Jurisprudence, and then demonstrate to you why, quote unquote, black leaders are paid to promote the name or the word minority amongst you, so that you can understand the sorcery in this with these wizards. Because I don't want you to believe me, I want you to understand that the world knows what's up. And when people come here from different countries and they're successful and you can't figure out why you can't be, it's because they know themselves and you don't know yourself. They understand national, international law, interchange, commerce, gold, silver coinage, financial instruments, conditions of governmental structure. All we deal with is beliefs. So therefore, they come in your neighborhood, put a glass between you and them, make a living off you because you don't understand what your birthright is and ain't nobody telling you, because they make a living off you too. So rather than you understanding life, politics, and the world and how it's run, civilization, here your mothers and fathers were founders of civilization and you don't even know civilization rules. We got a problem here. Wardship. Yeah, I know some of you have already heard the term when they talk about some of our children call them wards of the state. Do you know what that really means legally? I know you all heard this. Raise your hand if you really know the legal meaning of that. You do. Now remember, we're all adults, right? So if you don't know, what chance do them children have? No, just think about it. If you don't know, what chance do they have? Meanwhile, you deliver them into the hands of those who murdered your mothers and fathers to educate them and expect them to be successful. But you got a church on every other corner. Think about it. Wardship. In military tenures, wardship is the right of the Lord to have custody as guardian of the body and of the land of the infant heir without any accounting for the profits. You hear that? That's why they got you on the wardship. Now, what makes you a ward of the state in status in society? Now, we're going to go to the game of sorcery that's played. Minor, an infant or person who is under the legal age of competence. 1 under 21, a term derived from civil law, which describes a person under a certain age as less than so many years, and or minor vigiti penke annis, one less than 25 years of age, less of consideration, lower, person of inferior condition. You thought it was numbers, didn't you? It's a status. So now, let's use your reasoning power. If you declare out your mouth that you're a minority or people of color, not knowing that that's a status and not an identity, therefore when you become of age, you can't come out of wardship because you adopt that as a tag. And so it doesn't matter how old you get, you remain in wardship, and they don't have to account for the body or the land of the heirs. Not complicated, is it? However, our people don't know law, and they think it has nothing to do with history. You see the power that black leaders who know that civil rights is a fraud has had over our people, and they've been trusted too. And the corporations give them tons of silver in the back, and they come out and spew a whole bunch of emotional things with you while your babies is dying in the street, and you just believe them without question. Now you understand why the Nazarene turned over the table of the money changers? And y'all turned it right back up and give it to him ever since. Talking about God's broke. Right. Sound like he needs you. You don't need him. But that's not true. Your concepts are wrong. Our job is to straighten that out. Now you can be free if you want, but you don't have to either. Because you don't want it. It's still your birthright. Believe me, there's people around the world gladly ready to take it. You trying to leave and they trying to get here. To the North Gate. I want to read to you in law so that you will understand why it's important for you to have the nationality and identification card. Because I know people have heard it, but they don't necessarily take it serious, mainly because many Moors haven't explained it to them properly so they can appreciate what the prophet done and why he did it. Identity and identification. In the law of evidence, sameness, the fact that a subject, a person, or a thing before the court is the same as it is represented, claimed, or charged to be. If you fail in that, you fail the law of evidence and identity, and your status automatically goes into black, the lowest rank in society, which is not an identity, it's a rank, where no rights apply. That status in civilization is called civiliter mortuus, which means dead in the eyes of the law. So let's go to the law and let you see what civil rights leaders knew and ain't been telling these people why they marching them all around the place talking about they got some rights, when the right is in your birthright, which is in your nationality, which establishes your status in society and your capacity to exercise rights unalienable for you to even know that they even existed. So let's go to civiliter mortuus. I'm sure that some of you saw some of the pictures, and that's not all. We got tons more. We just brought some to show you, to prove to you that the world is aware of your Elam Bey. And the world is aware that you're really Muslims, your forefathers were. And Muslim ain't somebody, you know, doing some rocket ship stuff like this. You know, it ain't because you walk around circles and bang your heel. All that's ritual, that ain't really it. You've been played. No Drolly said, you know, before I brought you your name and your nationality and the knowledge of your birthright, nobody was talking to you. Nobody was telling you anything. Everybody was living off your virtues. And now that he brought your nationality and your birthright back and gave it to you, explained it to you, set up a foundation, an institution by which that information can be dispensed, now everybody wants to tell you what Islam is not. He said, they didn't tell you anything before. Don't let them tell you anything now. Please pay attention to the details. It's called logistics. Civiliter mortuus. Civilly dead. Dead in the view of the law. This condition is the condition of one who has lost his civil rights and capacities and is accounted dead in law. That's the status of people who have no civil rights. Have you ever heard civil rights leaders tell the people that that was their status? They probably never even heard this before. Have you? Who knew that the status of the people that are absent of civil rights legally is civiliter mortuus? No hands? See what our problem is? But when you have knowledge, no one can fool you no more and get your lunch money, can they? They're not going to have you marching up and down the street praying and getting kicked. Dogs sick on you and hoses sick on you and thinking that you're operating on constitutional law that really ain't law. It's a field marshal's program to generate finances and to get little townships jail money because you got to bail yourself out for a lost cause. Meanwhile, they pay the leader in the background and give him a church. And he looks innocent to you. It's just the truth. I know it's ugly. Now, what is the political opposite of civiliter mortuus? That legal phrase is called in full life. So now let's look in the law that all lawyers have, all governors have, all presidents have, all congressmen have, all senators have, but they ain't telling you. But they always talk about programs. So let's look at in full life. Now I want you to absorb this, keep these things and print them into your mind and compare them and deal in your mental with the politics that you've been dealing with so many generations and see if it matches. Sure, of course it doesn't, but be fair, give them the benefit of the doubt. In full life, continuing in both the physical and civil existence. And I'll add this, mothers and fathers of civilization that don't know the rules of civilization. That is neither actually dead nor civil liter mortuus. How come they didn't tell the people that that's what they were marching for? They didn't even know what they was marching for. See the game? See, a person who deals with beliefs, not the facts, just go do things, everybody make finances off them, and they can't figure out that 20 years later, and their children got the same problems they had. But they thought they was free. You see the problem that what a lack of knowledge does? The people are being destroyed by the day for lack of knowledge, and opportunists calling themselves leader guys who are sanctioned by Rome is raping you in the same process. Not knocking on, just exposing to you the truth so that you can start guiding your own life aright, because you're going to have to start saving your babies. We can't do it. You got jurisdictional controls. But I'm presenting this to you from a law perspective so you can understand what Nodrali did. Don't look at him as a person, oh, he's a great man. Yes, he was. What good is it if you don't understand what he did? Because if you don't apply it, it's useless. Because you're going to take a passive position and not be active and lose your birthright. Because this man got to liquidate. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And you don't have a lot of time. Nodrali said to the Moors in North America, Moors, be yourselves. I am teaching my people to be themselves. What is the legal term and phrase that applies to that sets the status in society that you might exercise those sovereign rights that go with the birthright that somebody's been trying to sell you that can't be sold? They're just leeching you until you learn. It's called impropria persona. Impropria persona in one's own proper person. It is a rule in the pleading that pleas to the jurisdiction of the court must be pled in propria persona. Because if pleaded by an attorney, they admit the jurisdiction. As an attorney is an officer of the court and he is presumed to plead after having obtained leave, which admits the jurisdiction. Now you see why people don't have rights to go to court. They get rolled and they fill all the jails, and they think because they got a lawyer, they don't know they just paid the bounty man to deliver them. And his obligations to the court. And without a birthright, you don't have any rights. Court automatically got jurisdiction. So they go through the motion of you challenging, knowing that they're just draining your finances. Because you don't know the truth about nationality and birthright. You just think because this person said they're representing you, that they're standing for truth. They're leeches, and they'll be on the golf course next week playing with the finances that you just paid them. The judge, the prosecutor, and the lawyer. Oh, the other one's going to Susie to the Bible still. And the other agents claim to be religious guys who always are paid off to go up and make little arguments for you. Oh, well, people need jobs, and you know, in our communities, and we need to just try to get it together and all that. They get the crumbs. They give them some crumbs to keep them keeping you busy. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Now, I want to make a point to you. So that you can you hear me? That I'm not on the mic? We're talking concepts. We're talking concepts, and I'm going to tell you something in a minute so that you can get an idea. Now, when I'm in Philadelphia, I have an apartment in Philadelphia that I visit maybe once or twice a month when I'm in that area. And I usually go there to check my mail or something like that, but I rarely get a chance to stay there. And when I'm in Jersey, and at one of the houses on Dudley Street, 2 houses apart, my sister in the house we bought for the girls, 4 doors later, and I'll be either there. If I'm in New York, in New Peaksville, when I remodeled my brother's house, I took one of the garages and I made a suite up there, so when I'm up there, I have a place to stay. So I have computers in all those places where I'm traveling. I just take me and I can keep on working and keep being about my mother's and my father's work. But my landlord of the apartment that I have in Philly has a house down in Jersey on Route 40. A very good brother. And he has, you know, like those buildings that look like long chicken coops? They look like chicken houses or something like that. It was all raggedy, all wood and was falling apart. So we decided to do some work on it, to fix it up, right? So we ripped it down and we put CMUs up, that's cinder blocks, and we're going to raise it up and build trusses and make it a useful garage now, right? So anyway, I was about, I raised up the front wall and I was really getting down and getting down and getting down, quite busy. And also obviously these cars come up on the lawn, guys gets out with his clipboard and all this stuff. He's a building inspector, right? And of course they was talking about what we can't do, right? So they got these orange stickers and stuff and puts it across the building and stuff like that, stop work order and all that stuff, and fines and $3,600 and $100 a day while his work continue, and also summons to come to court, the whole deal, right? So when it kind of plays itself out, me and Brother Raj, that's R-H-A, goes down to the Buena Vista Township. That's about 27 miles up northwest of Atlantic City, New Jersey. And so we walks in, there's about 4 building inspectors and some woman stenographer and some other guy was sitting at the other end of the table. You know how they like funds have these conference tables where you come in and look, they're looking all impressive. They're impressive, like presidential or whoever they are. So we walk in the door, got our briefcases, and I said, who's treating? And one of the guys looked at me, Pellegrini, he's one of the inspectors that came later. Oh, who's treating? You know, I guess they thought I meant who got coffee or cookies. What I was meaning that since you're the state, and I'm Aboriginal, and states can't make treaties, apparently you came down there and telling us to come here, so somebody must be getting ready to write a treaty. So who's treating? So we sat down, and they did the routine and talking about push 2 pieces of paper. One was a permit, and one was an application. Of course, on the permit, it had with the signature, owner and fee, but we know law, so we can read. We ain't niggers. We read. Do you understand? And I said, oh, you want to make a contract, huh? Since when did Europeans get authority to tell us who are indigenous to this land that we can build on our own property? So you got interest in that property? If you do, give me the instruments that shows it. Well, we're the Buena Vista Township. I said, you're a European that's operating in this corporation. Now, here's for you, a writ of discovery. Answer it and let me know what's up. We're going to lunch, so we left. I went back, we got on the computer, and I took his orange sticker down and I put that permit on the wall. And been building ever since. Now they came back, right? Came back again. Oh, now we're going to the Superior Court. Now it's up to $9,600. Oh yeah? Oh, they want to arrest him with a warrant and he's going to lose, you know, the old license thing that they talk about, and they're going to take peanut butter sandwiches, you know, the whole game, right? So we took those documents with the writ of discovery, made a writ of mandamus and a writ of removal, took it to the district court, and so the prosecutor and all the townships, now they got to come to court. You see? So we go to the district court, and the district judge starts reading the documents that we had sent earlier, and the discovery that they did not fill out. They delivered the discovery back blank. And so the judge was looking, he was turning red and angry. And then logically, the prosecutor started talking big time trash. There it is. And these Moors, you know, they just think that they ain't got to pay taxes and all this stuff. And we've had these cases before. And the judge said, you all had this before you initiated that fine? Well, yes, but see, because what was happening, he said, your case was fatal from the beginning. Apologize to Mr. Bey. Mr. Bey, we apologize. We're not holding you. This is a trial de novo, which means that trial didn't even take place. Give him everything back you took from him. Mr. Bey, we apologize. If you all had came in here early, it would all have been taken care of. We were there early. The prosecutor wasn't, but no deal. But that's the permit that we put up in this other building right now. And I got pictures on this camera right here of the building and me working on it. And when I came up here before we got on the plane in the morning, I was just pouring another slab of concrete, washed up, ran over Philly, then went down to the airport. Me and Abdullah got on the plane, and we came up to Chi-Town.
Yes, sir.
You understand? But I'm saying to you, that's the exercising of birthright. And another reason why, I just happen to have it, but another reason why I want to show you, because I know that a lot of people is trying to sell Moor's birthrights through packages. You can't. No Drolly already gave you what you need. You need to exercise it. But you need to understand what your rights are. That which is unalienable cannot be sold or alienated. It can't be transferred to another. If you do that, you just have practiced something that deludes to slavery, and the instrument is dishonorable. Are you following me? But I want you to understand the reason why I put it up here, because I want you to get a chance to read some of the things that are said. There are briefs in there, but that's the status that you have. That's rank. That has nothing to do with business. That has nothing to do with anything. When I go to the depot and I buy material, like I remodeled the kitchen too, last year when it was winter, when I had to stop because of winter, because I was doing work, this is outside. When I go to the depot and I buy stuff, they write the taxes off, not because I'm a business, because I don't deal with the IRS. It's because of my status being Moorish American, because I've been battling and exercising it. Now I say to you, if Moors knew, the unconscious knew they were who they were and were exercising their rights, do you know how much finance would stay in our communities just by not having to pay those little pieces of sale tax every day in one little city, in 1 week? And we're not talking about a privilege. We're not talking about exempt. We're talking about non-obligation by status. And how many of them know that that's what birthright is? You see some of these people trying to fool these Moors, talking about, you got Moors around here not trying to pay their tax. It's not your tax. Those are Europeans. You're indigenous. If you go to England, can you make an Englishman pay you tax? Well, how do you think an Englishman come here and make you, being an indigenous, pay him tax, and you ain't figured it out yet? And don't know how to argue it. And then let somebody that say they're a grand chief, or the grand moderator, or the grand governor tell you that Moors are supposed to pay tax to Europeans who are occupying your birthright. Noble Drolly told you where your land is. Now let me give you the deed, not deed, allodial title, knowing to your grand estate. It's right there in your Holy Quran. Don't need somebody to sell you some sovereignty documents. No Drolly already gave it to you. this is my pocket-sized poem. It's just when I'm traveling, and you know, one of those things like that. And this is what Abdullah defended himself at the airport when they trying to talk about U.S. type language, ID passport. He stood on his ground. They let him through. As a matter of fact, they got a person off the plane to get him on because we were getting ready to take off. So we got someone off the plane and he came on to it. That's it. Yes. Now I want you all to please pay attention to what I'm about to read so that you have an idea of the civilization nature of what Noble Ali did for us. And you already know he taught us morals and ethics through the divine order of the Moorish divine national movement. So it's a divine and national movement. It's well balanced. But do not fail to recognize your nationality, because with that you have no rights in society. You have no right to property. So when they start talking about, yeah, you gotta pay us some taxes, man, because we're Americans. No, they're Europeans. Stop calling them what they're not. All right? Now, for you all who think that you can buy sovereignty, let's deal with what your sovereignty is. Where now, oh, keep marching. Somebody lying. So here's your allodial title. Chapter 47. Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa. The dividing of the land between the Father and the Son. The dominion of Cush, northeast, southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest Africa, was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa. They were the founders and are the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire. Julie showed you your documents, showed you your tie. You're in the Moroccan Empire. Pardon me. With their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren who sojourned from the land of Canaan, seeking new homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended from northeast, southwest Africa, across the great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake, which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with surrounding kingdoms. Also the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in the ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records, the human race, there is no Negro or colored race attached to the human family, because all the inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the holy land of Canaan. And what your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. And there is no one who is able to change man from the descent nature of his forefathers, unless his power extend beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. And these holy and divine laws are from the Prophet Noble Ali, the founder of the uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and these laws are to be strictly preserved by the members of all the temples and Moor Science Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. And I, Prophet Noble Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and dreadful, awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honored not the creed and principles of their forefathers. And that is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774. And the word Negro, Black, and Colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent because they honored not the principles of their mothers and their fathers, and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. That's why you're branded black.
I have a question about Greenland. Is Greenland a part of the United States?
No, it's part, no. It's the Northern Territory, even though we occupied that too. But what I read to you is the specific geographical location of the Moroccan Empire to which you are sovereign heir apparent. And all hereditaments concerning that, movable, immovable, corporal, non-corporal, is yours by birthright. Now, what are you doing paying taxes to a foreign European because you forgot that he's a colonist? See where our problem is? Our concepts are wrong. So you not only have to change your frame of mind, you have to change your point of reference in the jurisdictional powers that run government. And you must learn those principles that are used to run civilization, because the keys to civilization were and are in the hands of the Asiatic nation. The problem is that you have not been taught what the keys are. You've been told that the keys are in your hands, but you haven't been taught the science. That's why he taught and laid the groundworks of the Moorish holy temple of science, because that's what it is. Now, if I say to you, you're more right, you brother as an example, right? Yourself. Since the energy, I pull the energy from you. Can you stand up for a minute? And you stand up, brother. Now, put your book down. Now, don't be defensive, because I'm going to give you an ADAPT test. ADAPT means expert. And you got a fez on, right? And you have a fez on, right? Now, give me the geographical, geometric, symbolic science to circle 7 wherever you're wearing it. Right now. And don't hesitate. I see you just pointed. Right? And what do you say? Say it again. I want to ask you again, so I'll make myself perfectly clear. You know what Moorish science is? All right. Do you know what circle 7 is? Oh, I know you see the symbol. Do you know what it is? If I ask you to break this down scientifically, can you? If I ask you, again, break it down scientifically and apply it in society outside of this crowd of your brothers who you are comfortable with, could you? How about you, brother? Now, let's stick with the head alone. Show me circle 7. Oh, you put your hand in the right place. Now demonstrate. All right, that's all right. Come on, I'll give you a lesson. But I'll make sure you understand it. Whenever you all are traveling, you ever notice sometimes when you go past some of the old churches and you see a cross with a circle around the cross? Huh? That's circle 7. You ever see pictures that they have of the one that's called Jesus, whose name true is Yahshua, because there is no J in Hebrew or Aramaic? And Jesus is a password, but his name is Yahushua. And most people don't know who he is, but they say they love him. You ever notice that when they show pictures of him, they have a light around his head? That's circle 7. Now, tell me how it's circle 7. Don't guess. If you don't know, say, I don't know. Next time y'all go see the image of the one they call Jesus, notice I said the one they call Jesus, and you see that nimbus, because that's what it is, about his head, did you ever pay attention to the open gate at the top, and the open gate over here, and the open gate over there, and the other open gate that you don't see because it's resting on his medulla at the base of the crown of his neck? That's circle 7. It's 4 gates. You see? Now, look at your fez. Take it off for a minute. Look at the top. You notice that there's 4 sets of holes? Count the circles in each set.
First set is 18.
Yes. 12. So it's 3 circles in sets in the 4 corners of that circle, isn't it? How much is 4 and 3?
7.
In a circle, isn't it? You're wearing it, aren't you? So now, how do you use that? See where the issue comes in? You got it. Well, who's teaching you to use it? But when you go out into the world, they're expecting you to be the founder of civilization in principle, not just because you got a nationality card. Because that's the science of the universe. The first circle of 9 perforations, which is the element of air, symbolizes 9 cosmic months of birth in the womb of woman. Because the planet Earth is matriarchal and not patriarchal. The second circle of 12 is the 12 disciples, or the 12 decimals numbers. 12 signs, 12 constellations. And the next set is 18 because it's a dual trine with 3 represented on each side of the equilateral pyramid or triangle, being 120 degrees on each side. 1 and 2 and 0 is 3. 1 and 2 and 0 is 3. 1 and 2 and 0 is 3. Yet that's 360. And it equals 9. You see? Huh? But yet you put 2 of those pyramids together, one above and one below, and you got hex alpha. That which is above, so shall it be below. Those who don't know call it what? Star of David. Or Dawood's dual trine. Or Solomon's shield. Alright? And you'll see that over top of the bird on the back of that so-called fiat currency dollar bill, because they're wearing your crown. And it's in 13 stars, dealing with the moons governing the womb of woman. That's what they mean when they say 13 colonies, because it really wasn't 13 colonies that ratified, it was 9. But they're dealing with science to send a message. All right? Now, this is an umbilical cord. This is the ball of mud called Earth. And this is the degrees of the Earth rotating around the sun. This is why when people graduate from school, they get a square with 490 degrees and they get a tassel too. And most of them don't even recognize the relationship. Do you understand? Because they're never told, although they're told it's a cap and gown or a mortar board, which means masonry. You see what I'm saying to you? Now, since you're the mother and father of civilization, you ain't supposed to be going out here and not be able to defend your birthright just because you've been dethroned. You see what I'm saying to you? You're supposed to learn the truth about your nationality and birthright so you can begin to exercise in them. And the more you exercise them, the more the social order changes. But you must be active and not passive. But you can't do something that you don't know. So you can believe your fez. All right, so now what you do with it? Do you see what I'm saying? So those who are wearing your crown, on some of those pictures that I showed you, they know the science. That's why they're governing. Now, it's your turn. Wake up. You understand? That's what Noble Drawley did. He's bringing you back your lost estate. But this conflicts that you're going through, the confusions that you're going through trying to understand it, some of it is in words, some of it is in deeds, some of it is psychological, some of it is social, some of it is moral, some of it is ethical. So it's kind of done in a conflict that can't exactly be expressed in words. Because you're going to have to know what's up. Guess what? Because Goliath ain't playing. Do you understand? And everybody's scared of him. He's going to and fro the earth devouring nations. And the only reason why he wins the war is because he keeps sending you to win them when he starts losing. Because the whole world knows who you are. The problem is you don't know who you are. But you got to vibrate into the right state of mind so that Rome can stop ruling the world and you can take your throne again because you lost your seat and you sold your birthright for a bowl of red pottage. But now you got your red fez back on, don't you? So just because they're wearing your red fez don't mean they're the sovereign. So why would you go file papers and pay him, file a paper and talk about, well, I'm going to do some commercial act on the UCC's Uniform Commercial Codes and get my sovereignty? The fact that you do it shows you don't know what birthright is. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So I'm only reminding you to study harder of what Noble Drawley presented to you so that you can get a deeper understanding and put away your childish things and start governing yourself, which is sovereignty, which is Islam. I, self, law, and master. All right? So that's so that we don't take lightly and just think because we're active and because we're involved that we're really doing what Noble Drawley told us to do. Because what happens is, remember, those who are ruling are very sure. That's why we pass the picture around. So don't you think this man ain't got your ear on Bey on the crown.
Right. Go ahead.
Noble Drawley said that he's living off your virtues. But if you tell people and don't show them, they just think it's your opinion. You see what I'm saying to you? And you know, but that's just for some of you who don't know. So that you know what the great Masonic secret is and why Masons don't talk. Because they live it off of you. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now, if they were honorable, they'd tell you and still keep playing with you and watching you suffer and watching your babies die day after day in the street and tell you, just keep hope alive. Right? Keep it up. And you ain't going to be here. And they get paid too. Don't they ain't worried? Because they know you're going to give them your money and go pay your bills with faith. But they're going to pay their bills with money that they got from you while they tell you money is the root of all evil. Lying. But if you want to believe them, fine. Call the funeral home, bury the next baby. And it's going to continue until you're extinct. Until you honor your mothers and fathers that your days may be long upon this earth land which the Lord thy God Allah has given thee. And that's the truth. Now, open forum. Any questions? Responses? Make sure the questions are heard by others in the back.
I want to know the geographic location of ancient Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, and Morocco in the
All right. Now, in the King Alfred plan, there's an exotic map in the front. Any of you who have the King Alfred plan, look at the exotic map, the military map that you'll have in front. if you see this map, military map of the United States in this North Territory, of the North Gate, and you do some searching, you're going to find Morocco, Tunis, and Algiers, etc. And understand that the sisters, y'all used to meditate right up here at the lakes. And those lakes were made with atomic power. They're not natural, in case you didn't know. You're not advanced, you fell. Whereas we measure time by this, based on the movement of the sun, you used to have instruments on your arm that measured 19 planets at one time. That's how far you fell. So don't think you're advanced, because you're not. All the wars, the majority of them that took place on the planet took place right here. And they got you thinking it took place elsewhere. So if you got King Alfred, look at that map and you'll find Algiers. You'll find Tunis. And Morocco. And England. And China. What you don't know about yourself. And everybody else know about you. And they're trying to trick you to leave, and everybody else on the planet trying to get here. Ain't that true? So it means pay attention to details, right? Yes, because you are the heir apparent. And they're trying to get rid of you before you become conscious, because you're a sleeping giant and don't know your birthright. See, they got comfortable in your throne. They don't want to leave now. So they want to keep you asleep. So they're going to be using chemicals, food, AIDS, and all kind of biological warfare to get rid of you before you wake up, so that the numbers are so few so they can do a mass slaughter. This is why the women right now are the largest growing prison population in North America. Because they figure they get you, they got the eggs on both sides before they get a chance to be here. So I'm putting that out to you. It's in your interest to get active. The sisters, Islam. And then, wait. Make sure that they hear you. Stand up so they can hear you.
Being that the geographic location is Northwest Amexem, that means that the Morocco is presently signing treaties in our behalf every 50 years is actually a corporate entity, as well as...
Now you understand why they say U.S. democracy. Because they're an imposter. The legitimate government is the United States Republic. No, listen. You're in Morocco. What they're doing, that's why I told you why they taught the and promote the quote-unquote minority thing with us, with quote-unquote black leader agents who usually have a reverend degree, so that we have faith in them. Do you understand? And that's why it's important for them to promote civil rights, which is a fraud, and for them to promote black and minority concepts, so that you remain in wardship status legally by your own covenant, because you just made a pact with them every time that you speak those words. And particularly when you call him white man, you just called him the sovereign of the land. But because our people don't know language, they've been trained like animals to think it's an identity, thereby giving up their birthright every time they open their mouth, because words are powerful. Because first there was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And since they don't know the language, the science that brings the spirit out of words, they always get themselves into contracts not even knowing that they're doing it. Back to your point. Therefore, the status is wardship tenures, isn't it? So the things that the people think they need to do, they're not about it. They want to march and pray. See the game? So that means they're running a treadmill, doesn't it? And getting no progress, doesn't it? Right? And so they need a leader to keep telling them, keep hope alive, so they can believe that what they're doing is bringing a result when it really isn't. Meanwhile, they're getting paid by the Romans, who's been killing your babies off. And that's how it works. It can only be maintained as long as you're a believer. But if you rise above belief and ascend beyond faith and ascend to fruition, where Allah and man are one, then the truth and you become one, and you can no longer be deceived by the sorcerers, no matter what garb they wear. You see what I'm saying, brother? So it's not just a symbolism. What do you have? How does it function? It's not, brother. Make sure everybody hears your question.
I want to know, are you saying that we don't have to go and put Rome on notice for our paperwork?
What I'm saying to you, the first notice is to put yourself on notice.
Alhamdulillah.
By studying. So that when you start that process, remember when you go smack Goliath, you're going to get his attention. Because he's been living off your birthright. So don't think that Goliath ain't going to punch you. And so if you're not ready to take that smooth stone and hit him in the pineal gland, understand that he's dealing with that thalamus that comes from the dark side of the brain too. If you don't know that, it's dangerous. So do you know what birthright is before you put documents out? Do you know what allegiance to your nation is before you put documents out? Do you know not to buy a package from somebody as an individual and give them funds for it, which is practicing slavery, which is a covenant in itself? It's a slave act that deludes to slavery and makes the document neutral because you're calling someone who has an obligation to your forefathers through Article 6 of the Constitution and Article 3, Section 2 of the Constitution under judicial powers and the versatility of the universal nature of jurisdictional powers and consular ministers, and you sending out documents, and if you don't fit that, guess what? You talking consul and don't know what consular is? Because somebody gave you some papers? And you said, oh, you don't file papers? There's nothing wrong with what you said, but put in context the following. Come on. Put in context the following.
Islam, brother.
Rise, please.
Islam, Mo.
What context of filing are you talking about?
When, delivering, correcting my name.
That means nato nomen substantivum by law. You're putting them with an affidavit of fact.
Yeah.
Never a motion, right?
Right.
Of course. That's right. Now, what else with filings? Is there any other angle that you were implying? No, you always do that because you put them on Rome. That's putting Rome on notice that you're rendering unto Caesar what is Caesar's. However, you keep that on the document because they're going to have to compensate you for that in the future. You just don't transact business in that trademark anymore. And don't try to capture it because then they will transfer the debt to you. Because they created that straw. You see what I'm saying to you? And some people get tricked into trying to capture that straw man and get on the board of beneficiaries under the trustee principle of a surety holder. Which means in the future, you can't be a plaintiff in a suit for reparations. That's why it's important for our people to know law before they just start doing things. Because that's also a trick he put out there because he knew he was going to run after or somebody ring a bell or the Pied Piper start blowing his flute. And if people try to bypass what the prophet has said because they want to get a shortcut without an allegiance, not knowing that this man is fooling them. That's why I showed you the picture that this man already knows what Bey and Bey is. So don't think you got to convince him of anything. He already knows who you are. Because he's got your birthright. And wearing your crown with Bey and Muslim and Islam on it. That's why we showed you the oil paintings from Washington, D.C., from Alexandria, Virginia, on the hill. You see what I'm saying to you? On the mounds. Don't think they don't know who you are. So it ain't them you got to convince. It's these people walk up and down the street that think they Negro, black, and colored, and following after these black leaders and these civil rights leaders who's raking down millions of dollars every week and going to the bank. It's them, the liquor stores, and the churches that's taking the finances out of our community, but they look innocent. You see what I'm saying? So, do you need to file a paper with them? I'm not saying don't. or do you need to file a paper with somebody who doesn't know to wake them up? You understand what I'm saying? But you're right, file that. But don't fall for that game of filing all these UCCs trying to buy sovereignty, because that's a fraud. And you're usually somebody who can't keep up with the interest rate. And you have to leave. Do you understand? So you think that you can't keep up the payments when it was never intended for you to pay it off. Right. Now, what happens is, and which is happening right now, when the world starts losing confidence in the Europeans' governance, those who are holding those instruments want to cash them. Right. See, because in other words, the musical chairs has stopped. Now everybody trying to sit down. Right. So now whoever's holding the instruments want to cash them. That's when the fraud is exposed. That's when people discover the mortgage fraud. Right. As long as it's floating, you don't see it. Your payments go up, but you don't see it. Right. And when it gets too many signatures, they have to dissolve it. So what they do is usually foreclose on the person. They don't know how to handle it, and they just another number, and it goes on, they sell all over again. Meanwhile, you fix it up and made it better for the next person. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? And the reason, now I'll tell you this. You ever notice when people go to foreclosures, and they be saying that you owe them, that they never produced a mortgage agreement that you initially made, show you a bill of lading and an affidavit showing your payments based on principal and interest and where you defaulted? You know why they don't ever produce them? Because they don't have it. Right. Go ahead. We don't have it. They're interjecting themselves again as agents to get paid, and they're not the possessors of it, never were. Because if they produced it, and if you demand that they produce it, you could charge them with fraud. But they're hoping that you don't have sense enough to do that. You just accept, oh, I was trying to get another job, and I was selling my car so I could just keep this payment, so I can just spend a little longer and try to make it. It's inevitable. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? When you should ask, put an affidavit fact, I want you, the original holder of the deed and the debt, to bring in all records under the rule of discovery of the debt, what created the debt, money transfers, etc. A record, show me where I defaulted by the agreements so that I can challenge that. Because since you accuse me of not fulfilling the debt, I have that right under the rule of discovery. People don't do that, do they? And guess what they ain't going to do? They ain't going to produce them instruments. Now you just tied the procedure up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Yeah. It's understanding what takes place. Now, logically, if you have a nation behind you, where they're not dealing with you, you have people dealing with yellow sheep, dealing with everything that's said, etc., looking for the first opportunity for them to say one thing wrong so you can charge them with fraud. But of course, you all won't do that. See the point? I'm just throwing that out to give you something to do. That's what you should do with the coalitions. Yeah. But of course, that can't be done unless the people have knowledge. Not, see what we need to do is get together with the Black Valley and get us together and see so we can go Black Valley, all that kind of stuff. There's no such nation exists. They can't go pay no bills with that. They can't stop them in the nigger line on Monday morning playing them traffic tickets. You understand what I'm saying to you? They need knowledge. And we need to change the equation, the playing field. We need to teach our people how to play political chess. It's not about
what we started, how you start. I had a group of people that I talk to every day. They mostly young, a lot younger than me.
Yeah, because they battle. See, because the truth got to come from Mount Bays anyway. Right. They just got to get more information too.
Right, and I want to know why I started. Because I see them every day. Basically, they're trying to build a form of stability for themselves. You know what I'm saying?
All right. They're trying to do it because adults haven't done it.
Right.
Adults trying to sell them more idol God worship, they're trying to get free.
All the young cats that I talk to don't even believe in God. They don't even.
No, they don't know. They do, but they don't know.
I'm talking about when I say God, their God. Fire.
No, listen, I'm going to explain that to you.
Okay.
Now, this is where you don't understand. This is where all adults and all children. The word God is a verb transitive. How many people knew that? You knew that. All these adults, and you all knew that. See the trouble we're in? Most of the people think the word God is a noun, don't they? They think it's the name of the creator, don't they? Well, boys and girls, go to the dictionary, use the rules of grammar, and go to the etymology of the word, and you'll see that it's a German word that has no history on the planet called Earth beyond the 6th century. So you're going to talk about ancient gods? See how the world's taking advantage of you all? Just to begin, God is an action, not a noun. When you pray, you're Godding. When you get together to do anything, you're Godding. Didn't know that, did you? How come the preachers don't tell them that? Because he be Godding all the time, getting their finances. It's an action. So everybody does God. Whether they believe it or not is irrelevant. Remember, the sorcerers will question your quote-unquote belief in God and turn around the next breath and tell you that Satan is the God of this world.
Right.
And you ain't caught on yet? But they know God. See why they call us boys and girls? Huh? They think God is the name. It's generic. Yes, let me give you an example. The sorcerer will come to you and say, brother, you got $5? Just call on the name of God. That name is a blank. Did you fill it in? Because God ain't the name. See the whole point? But people who can't read can't see that. Because most adults have the mentality of a minor. So they're classified as minorities. They think it's numbers. It's mental state. You see? But when you're acting, when you're doing good, when you're doing a good deed, that's Godding. Are we clear? For those who doubt what I just said, go look it up in the dictionary. A good one, not the paperbacks. The ones they told you, oh, that's your old grandma, throw that old thing away. You need the new edition. Yeah, right. You keep believing them sorcerers. Tom says, I apologize for the time pastors. I knew you was back there rolling these. Come on. One more question after this.
Earlier, Abdullah mentioned the book, Mason and Moors, and also a series of his books on treaties and things of that nature. And I was just wondering, how would I be able to know when these books will come out? And
keep in contact with Brother Teeth. Now, Moors and Masonry is a book that I wrote earlier, like in the late 80s. I did an article in a couple of newspapers down in Jersey and Philadelphia area. And of course the paper went in other places too. Moors and Masons. And of course some of those pictures that you see are some of the pictures we took that time when we went to Washington and to Alexandria, Virginia. Well, lo and behold, I got a letter from the secretary of the Masonic Grand Masonic Lodge in Silver Springs, Maryland, right? And he wrote an article criticizing me, you know, about the cherry tree and everything, Georgie boy, and the George chopping down the cherry tree, and that's Weems, and going through my convoluted perception of Moorish legacy in America. So I kindly wrote him back and spanked him nicely, and I published both letters in the paper. Hear no more from them.
Go ahead.
Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Let him know that to degree, don't they?
Go ahead.
You understand what I'm saying to you? They try to discourage you because they're living off your birthright. You understand what I'm saying, sis? Now, Moors, now let me put it in another way. For you, for the babies, and for the little baby sitting right there that's going to have to run this world. And this is for the mothers, and the sons, and the husbands, and the boyfriends, and the girlfriends. If you are to know the politics that runs the North Gate, which is the Masonic code for North America, you must know the general history of the Battle of Tours, 732, near Poitiers, France. You must know of Charlemagne, Pepin the Great, Charles the Hammer Martel, and that War of 732. You must know the Spanish Inquisition. That is a veiled history of the Inquisition against the Moors. Most of our people don't know because when they see the word Spanish, they think it's somebody else. That's how it's hidden in your face. That's the foundation of the policies and the politics that runs North America. And the codes of genocide destruction were written right in the church and issued from the church. Called the Christian Black Codes of 1724, directed from the codes of 1600 from France. The Franciscan Brotherhood of the Roman Catholic Order of Wizards.
Go ahead.
That you call Masons and Knights Templars, and think it's just Harry Potter stuff.
Go ahead.
And as real as it can be. Well, we're here to counter them wizards.
Go ahead.
But you're going to have to use the knowledge and not just take what we're saying lightly. But we challenge you to prove us wrong so that you can find it to be true for your own self. Then you start countering these demons. Sis?
With all this misinformation going on, do you think the Europeans can afford to put an indigenous native into the so-called United States presidency?
Let's put it like this. With all due respect to the appearance of tokenism,
Go ahead. Take it up.
I just read to you in the King Alfred plan that the minorities, members of Congress, will be unseated.
Go ahead.
So it gives you the impression that he's going to have any power. And I say this to you. If the ship wasn't sinking, he wouldn't have got that far.
Thank you. There you go.
Go ahead. Exactly.
Let me finish. It's your birthright, and you're waking up. There's people all over this country, including Europeans, who want the republic back,
Go ahead.
who are making the same argument we are, except they're not the real sovereigns.
They're not.
Our status is different. They're just battling over what they robbed us of.
That's it.
But the fact that people are waking up, they're starting to resist color of law, color of office, colorable processes, and studying to know exactly what it is. And even though they may be making mistakes, the very fact that they're throwing the spirit in the ethers to even begin to stand up is costing these municipalities across the country tons of finance, and they're going broke.
Go ahead.
They're trying to sell lawns to foreign countries to liquidate because the walls of Jericho is coming down. Some people are confused because the shadow ain't caught up with the wall yet.
Right.
Because it's so big. But understand, spiritually, it's over. They do what they do because you, the heir apparent, is still asleep.
Right.
Go into the book of Genesis and read about Isaac, son of Abraham. You see, he had a wife, and her name name was Rebecca. And she was without child. And so he prayed to Allah. He said, Allah, you know, hook me up. I'm your boy. Right? So Allah said, you got it going on, don't worry about things. It's two and the other. Now, she became with child, plural. But pay attention to the book of the dead. It says, in her womb were two nations. Two different manner of people. But one of them had ruddy, hairy skin. One named Esau, one named Yaqub. Because there's no J in Hebrew, so there ain't no Jacob. Don't misunderstand this ticket. And one come out of her womb holding the heel of the other. But let's cut through the chase. One lost his birthright to the other. He was a man in the field, right? Coming out of the field, man in the field, so he's hungry, right? So the brother's going to hook him up. Now he's a man in the field, which means he has the capacity with the earth of the divine order to feed himself. But he sold his birthright for a bowl of red pottage. And Allah had charged with him because he despised his own birthright. I ask you today, who's them nations? And why are you sitting here? Somebody got your birthright. I think we better nationalize it and get your birthright back. But only you can confess your own and honor your mothers and fathers. Nobody can make you do it. They only do what they do because we have not taken a stand. Do you understand? Huh? But guess what? Mom is home now, and she's going to get her house in order.
No, that's right.
And Allah is not a man. It's the spirit of the universe, and it is feminine.
Go ahead.
And divine. And she ain't playing. Do you understand? The key is in you and every woman that's sitting right here who has been subordinated by artificial religious dogma systems that have been forced upon the world. Therefore, she gives up her power. She's looking for divine creation outside herself when actually God is beneath her.
Go ahead.
She is superior to what the masses have called God. We're in trouble because she's looking outside herself and is within.
Go ahead. Humble her.
And this belly button I got, she ain't came from my rib, I came from her womb, and I'm not confused.
No, that's right.
Therefore, you should not be.
Go ahead.
So shall it be for everyone, every living soul that walks this planet. He only has power because we give it to him.
Go ahead.
Therefore, everyone, man, woman, and child must learn the truth about the divine order and the nature and the essence and the quality and the validity and the lack thereof of covenants, of contracts, of agreements. And don't make a pact if you don't know what you're signing. Therefore, we're teaching those principles by which that divine order can be returned to you, but you must do it. Not I, but I can tell you. Would you like to ask that question again? Or would you like to go within and begin to solve them? Honor your mothers and fathers that your days may be longer upon this earth, not a cloud, because the kingdom is here. All right? One more question and we're going to roll. Islam. Apologize. Hit him real quick. Go ahead.
Is that a lodio permit, something like a restraining order?
You see it says a lodio on you.
Yeah. Is it like
Uh-huh.
a restraining order?
It's an injunction. And it's the judge from the district court told the other judge, Caputio, and that prosecutor that their position was fatal from the door. And I've been building ever since. For some of you, I got my camera here and I'll show you the building. You'll see me in my little garb up there just putting the bricks together. You understand? Now, not that they come at me, but the point is, what happens when we all recognize we are each other's keeper? Can Rome keep doing what Rome does?
No.
Huh? People keep forgetting. When the Nazarene was on the scene, it wasn't no devil that murdered the Nazarene. It was organized religionists.
Go ahead.
People's minds was twisted. It was the state, an organized religion. And the devil's been burdened with that lie ever since. Well, we want to get together and raise some money and fight the devil. Because good people come together doing God stuff. And the devil always comes and starts messing stuff up. Organized religionists kills the prophets.
Go ahead.
Because the prophets come and reveal the truth and the game that they're playing.
Right.
So they get together with the state, all being in the secret society, start slandering his character. You understand? Plotting his death, because they can't rob you no more.
Go ahead.
Then tell you, after they rob them and murder them, look what the devil did to the prophets. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a prayer and a rally and raise some money to fight the devil. And you buy into that too. See the trouble we're in? Huh? But all records say that organized religionists plotted his murder. Huh?
Same way Republicans want to do.
Same thing. It happens over and over again. Even when they ran Prophet Muhammad al-Mecca, everybody celebrate his journey to Medina and say, in order to be a Muslim, you got to make the Hajj. And you follow them? They cutting each other's throat.
One more question.
One more question. Family. Islam family.
Real quick, I want to shed some light on something. A big movement was in Chicago under reparations. And they just apologized for some corporate fiction.
Yeah.
After you apologize for corporate fiction, now it's like the reparation movement all over again. How do you apologize for corporate fiction? I'm not understanding.
That's not a question. What you should do, and what I present to you now, is to use your divine reasoning. You know what you should ask, and these so-called black leaders, including, I'm not going to name the names, that keep on showing up and getting paid.
Go ahead.
They should have got together and said, oh, you apologize? Judge, you got it? All right. We want all the so-called branded black people in prison to stand up, write a petition in, and sign it and apologize so they can be out tomorrow. Since that's considered payment. And if that's what they've done to us for all these generations ain't a crime and still taking our land, certainly people that did these little petty crimes can't and should not be in jail.
That's right.
So how could you even look at that? The other deal is this, and I want to make this very clear relative to reparations. In order to make a claim of reparations, you must be an appropriate persona sui juris. How many of our people are appropriate persona sui juris? They don't even know what it is. They're not being themselves. They can't make a claim. They're not qualified to make a claim. They're under wardship.
Right. Go ahead.
That's a fraud.
Right.
No black nation exists. There's 54 nations in Africa, and not one of them is Blackademia, Coloradifia, Negro Dina.
Go ahead.
So I'm throwing that to give you something to think about. We got to cut it. Family, I trust we did some good. I hope we do some better. I trust you get together, study, challenge what I've said, do some research, save the babies, love one another, be your brother's keeper.